We are going to discuss 100 plus innovative bugs, and I must repeat that these are from independent security researchers, and I don't own any right on this. I would try to explain you these bugs and the logic behind it, right? How these bugs actually made it through this particular thing. So here's our first bug, which is the Facebook portal's business logic error led to $500 of bounty. And let's see how this particular bug worked, and let's dig deeper into it. Firstly, Facebook portal's business logic error leads to 500, right? So there is an explanation about Facebook Portal. Facebook Portal is a multi-functional app mainly designed for portal devices, although it works without a portal device too. And how did this particular bug worked? We have a video POC over here, but before going to that video POC, we would read the description over here. In the Portal mobile app, users create album and become admin of album. So you are a user and you create an album, and when you create an album you are the admin of that album, right? Add their friends to album means we can invite friends to the album. When their friends block admin of album in Facebook, admin of album cannot see and remove their friends. So if the invited member blocks the admin of the album, right, the admin cannot see or remove their friends. Furthermore, their friends can access new uploaded pictures and uploaded new pictures. To make it more clear, I would use this particular thing. So in Facebook you are a user, right? When you create an album, you are the admin of this album. So being as admin, you can invite multiple peoples, like person 1, person 2. So if person 2 blocks the admin, so the admin can't see this particular user, but this user can see the pictures uploaded in this particular album, making this a logic flaw, right? Same scenario I explained. A user A, user B, user A is friends of user B, album owner with user A in portal, same steps which I explained you. And this was a $500 bug, which was a business logic bug, and it was really interesting bug. It is a category of BAC. Basically it's known as broken access control. Broken access control, right? Here we need to identify what privileges a particular user has and try to break the logic over here. Now these are the kind of bugs no one can teach you. These are of your common sense. The second thing is open redirect due to scanning QR code via Brave browser. Now this looks interesting to me. Let's see. As the name suggests, one second. As the name suggests, it's related to Brave browser, and it's a HackerOne report. It's a HackerOne report. And how does this particularly worked? That open the browser, then in your browser you can click on scan a QR code. Now this was a functionality of Brave browser. Scan the QR code in which there's a malicious link. This will automatically redirect you to the malicious site. So it's pretty simple to understand, and the bounty was 500. To uh, further clarify it, here's your browser. Everyone knows that Brave is a browser, as we have a functionality in Google now, Google Lens. So Brave had a similar functionality of scanning. So we use Brave browser to scan a particular QR code which was malicious, and it has the link embedded of evil.com. So how does this particular thing should work? If you scan something through a trusted browser, the browser should give you a warning. Like if you would see on LinkedIn now, before redirecting to a website, LinkedIn gives you a warning. So there should be a warning that you are getting redirected to a third party website. but in this case there was no warning, and on scanning that QR code, you are getting redirected to evil.com, and it was a bug of $500. Pretty simple, right? Moving on. Homograph attack bypass. Now this looks interesting. The homograph attack, let me have an insight onto it. What's in here? All right, if we look at this, homograph tested on Linux and Windows. Now to basically understand this, we need to first understand what is a homograph attack. Firstly, so in browser, add homepage with IDN @ebay.com. All right, now close and open browser again. You can see it redirects to xn ebay7cd.com. Now this is not specifically a very high severity bug. It's basically a violation of design principles, and you need to go to the general settings, add homepage as ebay.com, and if it's getting redirected, so yeah, here's a video POC too. They would enter ebay.com over here, it gets redirected to that particular server xn ebay, and it's not really a security issue, to be very honest, but it's fine, right? Moving on, if we see over here, Brave browser to Tor Windows leak users real IP to the external DNS server. Now there are a lot of bugs related to the Brave IPs, means the Brave browsers. We would have an insight onto it. Most of these are medium reports, the disclosed hacker ones. And over here, if you can see, open Wireshark, start capturing traffic. First you need to understand that Wireshark is a uh, it's like what we say, digital forensics tool, where we intercept the traffic and set wireless display filter to DNS. So there are two types of requests, the DNS, the HTTP. So if we turn this to DNS, then if we open Brave browser, that open new private window with Tor. Now Tor is an onion browser which hides your real IPs, right? Open the Tor window, navigate to tools, ites.org. In Wireshark you can see DNS request for tools sent you to your DNS server. If you would look over here, this is your tools.ilf, and this is Wireshark. And if you see over here, the IP source is getting leaked. The destination source IP is getting leaked from here. Even we are using Tor. That should not be exactly the case, right? So Tor is designed to what we say, it's designed to not leak your IPs. It makes up a multiple layers of protecting your IPs, right? Adding a bonus, because this is worse that initially thought if the user is visiting onion URL in Tor Windows. Exactly what I explained. It's more sensitive because Tor is meant to be hiding your IP, and in this case it's not hiding the IP, right? These not specifically not are security bugs, because these are at the user controlled end. But for a particular service like Brave browser, they are looking at the customers safety, right? They look into customer safety a lot. That's why it is sensitive. Moving on to Tor viewer extension web service available on all interfaces. Now this sounds something new to me as well. Let me have a look at what exactly it is. So over here, when files are downloaded via the torrent viewer, a local web service is spun up that allow users to download files. Okay, so over here, disable local firewall if set block all external traffics. Load a torrent in a Brave browser. So torrents are used to download some files. If you might have looked into something, Ravi, my voice is coming nice and clear. If you can just type a yes. Okay. So if you might have used torrent, is download used for downloading movies and games. So we click on start download, hover over the save file button, perform an external port scan. So over here, if I make you aware about this thing, now it's really simple. How exactly it works is we are using a torrent server, and using this torrent server we are performing an external scan. Now for beginners it's really hard to understand, but if we perform an external port scan, we can discover all the interfaces on what they are running and what they are not running. And yeah, it's pretty hard to understand at a beginner level, but okay. Over here is cross origin page stays focused before and after downloading. So what is cross origin resource sharing? The websites have certain things which restrict the people from copying their stuff, right? To get some endpoints protected. So CORS is that cross origin page stays focused before and after downloading. On this thing, what they are doing is they are basically trying to manipulate the cross origin pages. Here's the exploit.html file. Exactly what they are doing. Over here there is twitter.com. This is also based on Brave browser, and here there is twitter.com. They are replacing the Windows location with hello.jar file, which they have given over here. And it's a low severity bug, it's not really a high severity bug. And okay, download attributes allowing, okay, download attributes allow downloading local file. Now this would be of interest to you, because the above discussed scenarios now are not generally generic. These are software based scenarios which we discussed above. They are not literally generic, so it's hard to understand. Over here it's again a Brave software. If you can see, the attribute download is a tag that allows download of files. So what they are doing, uh, if we download something, for example, if we are using Brave browser and we are trying to download something, right? So if we try to modify that file, we can download the hc password file. Now what's hc password file? It's a critical file in Linux. Over here if you can see, this is the IP address, this is the Linux page, and if we modify that file, we can uh, get the hc password file. Now this is a phishing page, .html file, which tries to fetch this page. Now in this HTML file, now this command is loaded. As simple as that. These are the screenshots of the same things. See? So using phishing, we can fetch the hc password file on Brave browsers. That's why it's categorized as low severity, because the attack complexity is very high. If it's a zero click fetching of this particular file, it might have been a P1, right? Because hc password is the most sensitive file on a Linux system, so the attack complexity was high. That's why it doesn't get categorized as a P1. Over here, modify in-flight data to payment provider smart to pay, right? Over here it's a highly business logic error, and you can see the bounty $7,500. I have found a vulnerability which allows attackers to generate Steam wallet balance. Firstly, you have to change your Steam account email to something like this. Then go to where you need to click to add funds, proceed to payment, and select any payment which uses smart to pay payment method. Okay, click next steps. Now this is the request, which was a post request where the currency was involved. A post request, you can see the merchant ID, the amount which is 2000, and a lot of things. For this request, it would look like hash merchant ID amount. For example, we can change the original amount to 2. Here it was 2000, we changed it to 2000. After contacting, it will be still 2000. Then we change email from this email to this email. Over here, if you see clearly see this, here the email was bricks amount at the 100 abc at the rate the rest of the thing. Here they change to bricks and amount. Now if you clearly look at this, they added 100 amount extra. They didn't manipulated this parameter where the a was capital, but they manipulated the parameter where a is small. Now the request should look like this. Merchant ID, they didn't manipulated this, they just used 2000, it would remain as 2000, but in the email they added amount of 100. Then just pay $1, you should get your money on Steam wallet, and there are some transaction made with this method. So it's basically they manipulated the parameters, and they can buy as much as balance they want. Where money is involved, it would always be marked as P0 bug, highly critical bug. Because if he can make a payment of just $1 and get a lot of amounts in the Steam wallet, it would lead to monetary losses for the company. That's why such huge bounty was awarded for a single bug, right? That's why. Moving on, pixels that steal data. Now this looks interesting. Let's see this. A vulnerability which an attacker can obtain the information for all the users without their knowledge. He can steal his IP address, ISP, country name, city name, and a lot of things. This vulnerability can be found on the places where you have an option to uploading images using URL, forums, discussion pages, comments. So go to IP logger, invisible, and generate a invisible image. All right. After that, link will be generated. Copy and clicked on logged IPs. Now upload the image two ways. Fetch image using web, means you need to give the IP logger URL. In that IP logger, fetch the image using image source. So there are two ways. So if you have a functionality like this where only the image is meant to be given, use this way. Direct link, if there is a blog post, use this particular thing. Image source, this is an invisible image to seal your IP. When this is created, now post it and wait for some time. As soon people will start looking your topic, you will get IP addresses, country name, city name, region, device info, and other details. So it's pretty simple. I don't know how much it is relevant on a bug bounty program, but because this is basically a phishing thing, so I don't know how much relevant it would be on a bug bounty program, but it's good for you to know, because this person haven't mentioned that whether he got a bounty for this or not, but it's a smart way of stealing information of his. So over here it says UI manipulation means user interface manipulation leads to unauthorized permission changes. Seems interesting. Let's see into this. So the UI slip, I hit $750. So for this bug, this person got $750. What was the bug? A virtual name of a private program stands out specifically. Okay, so it was a private program, and the flaw in the system: login into the exam front platform as a company user. So these are the steps to reproduce. Navigate to the user management section or any relevant area that control user permissions. All right. Locate the account from which you want to remove permissions. Okay. Select the access option for the users. In the user settings, locate the access right and permission sections. Identify the specific permission you want to remove and locate associated disable page. Okay. So over here now, what exactly is happening? Okay. So as far as I have understood, when we use the inspect element now, this person used the inspect element to remove the disable page. Remove the disable page for targeted access right by modifying UI code or altering. Now you are able to see the select button. Now there's a select button just behind the disable page or the settings permission page where this person removed that particular disable page, and it's basically users of inspect element. Now the screenshots are not enough for me to understand that how exactly the page looked, but as far as I know that there would be a watermark in front of it. That person cleared the watermark, and in the back of that there would be uh, some sort of links to do that. Over here there is email verification bypass, allow users to add or verify any email as guardians. Now these kinds of bugs are highly sensitive. So this bug belongs to Khan Academy. Now the steps of reproduction are over here. Go to Khan Academy, sign up. Sign up as learner keeping date of birth below 13 years. Now keep victim's email as parents email. Okay. For example, here I'm keeping info at the rate Khan Academy org as parents email and click on sign up. Now you will see the following message. Your parent or guardian must approve your account. It will be deleted in 7 days. Right. Now go to Khan Academy settings and update your email to temporary email or any email of your access. All right. So if you first logged in and your parent or guardian must approve this account, but you went to this particular settings account page and you basically changed your mail. All right. When you changed your mail, now you will receive a email verification in your temporary email. You have to access, but don't click on the email. Now change the email to info.khanacademy.org, which was entered as a parent account. See, which was entered as a parent account. Now open the verification email received in your temporary email account in incognito tab and refresh your child's account. We have successfully tied info@academy as a parent account with email verification. This is that account I have created. Now there are the screenshots of it. You should choose your age as less and connected email, right? So basically it's a case of token manipulation. Means you ordered the token, for else then you update your mail, still the previous token linked your new email, right? It would be a high severity bug. I don't know it was a VDP or not. Yeah, so that was the case over here. Very interesting bug, to be honest. Over here, improper authentication. Any user can log in as another user with OTP logout, OTP login. Let's see into this. Over here, this bug vulnerability is of Snapchat, and this vulnerability was discovered on the one tap password login logout flow. If exploited, attacker can log in into any account for which they had the user ID. This ID exposed in several places should not have been trusted in the request by logout endpoint. Okay. So there is a this particular request which is SC auth Snapchat authentication OTP droid logout, contains a user ID parameter. Usually it is equal to current user ID, but if an attacker passes user ID of victim, he can log in as victim. So he had given two IDs. This is hidden because the report is now fixed. So over here you can see there's Snapchat user ID. We need to change the user ID over here, and once we change the user ID, uh, it gives us success. But if we change the this particular endpoint, it was a logout endpoint, right? But if we change this logout endpoint to login and provides the user ID of that particular user over here, so that he can log in as, yeah. So here what's the flow? You must know the user ID of the victim. Once you change the user ID, then yeah, you are good to go. So only thing here was so this was the bounty was given $25,000 to this particular person, because the bug was highly critical. You can log in into any person's account using the user ID. That's why the bounty is so huge. It's 15, if I'm not wrong, my calculations are right, it's near about 20 to 20 30 lakh rupees in Indian currency, right? As it was a login bypass vulnerabilities, that's why the bounty is so huge. Moving on to the other bug, a captcha bypass for most important function. Over here, this is the particular endpoint of eninstagrambrand.com. It belongs to this particular website. The Instagram brand functionality has a business users portal, and on this portal they had a particular verification which you need to enter the captcha. मतलब कोई भी feature है, there is a feature and there is a captcha response. So you can see the captcha value over here. See, G recaptcha, and this person changed the post request to a put request, and the captcha is intercept, means bypassed. If even if you enter old value or any value, the captcha is accepted. Over here you can see this was the particular portal. If you enter any value, the captcha is bypassed just because you used a post put request instead of a post request. Over here, see, even if this person is entering one, it's giving a success message, so you can brute force this particular endpoint, and the bounty was awarded. I don't know what would be the bounty. If it's a medium bug, the pretty decent bounty would have been awarded, likely to be more than 200 $300, right? So things like these are very interesting, because if you know about these bugs, when you would be hunting in real time, you have a lot of scenarios to hunt for. Over here there's an information disclosure by sending a GIF. Over here, client side enforcement of server side security. Now this is really interesting. It's on LinkedIn. Create a standard LinkedIn user account to use in the attack. All right, select a GIF from GIF keyboard and capture the request with burp suit while sending it to our victim. Forward all the requests until you get Voyager API, Voyager messaging dash messenger. So this might have been a request where there's a create action endpoint where there it says create message endpoint. In this request, type the burp suit collaborator URL. Okay, so in this, instead of this particular thing, you need to give your burp suit collaborator URL. Okay, when the victim opens the message box, the attacker will get critical information about the victim. Now how exactly it's working, you intercept on, you enter a GIF. So why you are using a GIF? Because GIF loads on customer side, the picture might not load, because GIF once delivered, they need to get executed. Instead of this particular URL, na, see, here's the URL of this particular thing. Give the burp collaborator link over here. As soon as this picture would reach the victim, the burp collaborator would leak the IP address of the victim. See, we got the IP address and from which browser it's working. This vulnerability affects not only smartphones but or all platforms. Clearly see over there. So we get the IP address of the victim, which is very critical. Here are the video POCs, and if you see into this, it's a SSRF GIF, then capturing the request. Instead of this particular URL, uh, the URL is given of the burp collaborator, and as the person opens this particular image, we got the IP address of the victim. And once we got the IP address of the victim, see, we got the which OS it's running. It's highly critical information of the victim. So that why it's might have been categorized as a high severity bug. It's medium, I guess, due to the attack complexity or something. But obvious he would have been getting a bounty or something like that. Huh. Exactly why I was saying it might have been gone on high, because you can see the integrity and availability is none. Confidentiality is low, because if there is some sort of PII leakage, then it might have been a high severity bug. But in this case, only IP address is getting leaked, so that's why it's categorized under the medium severity. So when the assessment of the severity is done, there are a lot of factors which play a very important role on to determining that how exactly thing would be categorized, and what are the prominent factors which we need to look in before categorizing the severity. If by any chance some other sort of PI is getting leaked which is highly critical, it might have been a high. Moving to the 15th, attacker is access the commit title which team member comments are meant to be private. So it's again a BS issue, the broken access control issue. Sorry. Over here, if we see, attacker is able to access title, commit title, team member comments, which should be private. So over here, to reproduce, we need two accounts: victim@gmail.com, attacker@gmail.com. Create a project from account victim@gmail.com and choose the permissions like this: only project members, right? Note that project visibility should be internal, because we have chosen this as only project members. Go to the profile from of victim from attacker@gmail.com and subscribe to all the events like this. We subscribe to all the events. From victim amount, comment on any commit. You should receive its notification on attacker@gmail.com. We commented on any commit and we received a notification on attacker@gmail.com. As you can see, the message of the commit team members who commented, what the comment was: everything is available to the email received. This shouldn't be sent by email because of the settings of the repository. Now, what exactly happened? The attacker only subscribed to that particular repository. He was not an internal member. But once the attacker got a mail, this is highly sensitive issue, because the internal repositories are not meant to be seen by an attacker, and the bounty would be great. I guess they haven't disclosed the bounty amount, but if it's GitLab, the bounty would be above $1,000 for sure. Abusing report as abuse to delete any user's post. Now this thing looks great to me. How exactly it's great? As the name suggests specifically. So we usually go on to some things where we have a post, and we can flag that post, that this post is not good. And over here there's a similar scenario: login with attacker credentials and victim credentials in incognito mode of browser. Post something through victim's account on his own wall, means like a social media post. On attacker account, go to the victim's wall or profile. You can see option to flag or select abuse thing, and you just need to send it to intruder and redo that process again and again. Due to no rate limit and excessive abusive flags, the post of that particular person would get deleted simply, right? So you can delete any user's post. You can increase the number of likes, dislikes, and a lot of things. That's why they played with the severity, the CVSS, because attack complexity was high. Generally companies do this to reduce the bounty amount, but according to me, no offense, but the attack complexity is highly easy. What's the complexity over here? Only you need to do uh, go to the intruder tab and just delete anyone's account. But there's least the security researchers can say. I again repeat, all these credits go to the individual security researchers who found out these bugs. Nothing goes to me. I'm just explaining. Okay, so here's a small race condition bug. So race condition bug is where we uh, execute a particular request simultaneously at some times. So over here, first account, we need two accounts to reproduce this. First account with leader account, second account with normal account. Create a group from first account and create an invitation link. Join using the invitation link on second account and intercept the request. Over here, this is the particular request to join that particular company. Repeat the above request in parallel. I did 5 parallel requests and I was able to add myself 2 times to that group. So there's a what we say, there's a tool which we categorize as what I don't remember this name. Yeah, Turbo Intruder. So it's for the race condition bug specifically. Now trying deleting that user from first account, no matter how much you try, you won't be able to delete it because we somehow played with the backend of that particular thing. As this wasn't a big concern, because ultimately you should have an invitation and stuff like that. So that's why it's categorized as low, and I don't know how much is the bounty, but it's a good bug. At the end of the day, it's a good bug. Right. Moving on, privilege escalation in buddy press allows moderator to administrator. Over here, if we look at this, it's of medium severity. Buddy press scores allow, so you need to create two accounts. In account A, create group ABC with this two users. Administrator in group ABC promote B to moderator. So B is a lower privileges than administrator. In account B, create own group without account A. Okay, only account B. So in A's account, you need to create a group ABC with A and B both as the members, where B is a moderator. And only in B, create another group where only B is there. In account B, access quick link here means this is a particular request. Change your B's group. Here the let me see the video POC because the like it's not really clear. The instructions weren't so much clear. Okay, so I guess this is the B's account where, okay, this is the A's account where there's a moderator access, and this is the B's account where A doesn't exist. So this person went to members, right? After going to the members, he might have clicked on edit or something. Edit. You can change the role to moderator. You are changing your own role to moderator, and this is the particular request. It says action demote. So over here it would write action promote and role admin. What exactly this person was changing the group number. The group number of, he knows the group number of that particular account, and in that previous thing, like the A's account, he might be a administrator now. So this is only possible where you know the group number, but it's clearly a case of privilege escalation. But the security sucks in this particular website, to be very honest. The security wasn't good, so yeah, easy peasy case. Delete all data of any users. Let's see into this. I guess this is a bug of Snapchat, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. No, it's Nextcloud. Okay. So what the bug over here is, if you are a user, have permissions, manage user admin, you can delete all data of the website. So create a new user with username, anything. Delete users you have just created. So here's the POC file over here. Okay. So in this particular thing, this is the particular request where it says delete nextcloud index.php settings users that slash dot. Now in this particular thing now, they are using directory traversal to delete all users basically. See, They are using directory traversal to delete all users, and its severity is low, I guess, due to some other things. $250 is there. So basically it's a sort of API hacking and nothing much technical about it. Bypass OTP verification when placing orders. So here's as the OTP verification bypass. It might be due to response manipulation, rate limits. Let's see how exactly is this innovative. Okay, it's it's of no rating. I don't know why. It's categorized as a low severity. Strange. It's really strange. Oh, user can bypass the OTP verification. User can give a random number. Hence, the session code we can be used to verify. Let me see this particular POC. I hate when companies categorize such bugs as no rating. Let me see the POC. Let's not be judgmental at a very early stage. I don't know how exactly this thing works. So the person went to zomato.com, and when placing an order, add to cart, location, and give any random phone number. Okay, so this might request a OTP. So after, here's if you give a random OTP and session code is 9527. Okay, so the session code is, even if you fill a random number, the session code is the right OTP. Let me see a verification code, and okay, strange. So the session code was the OTP. So they have placed the order with some random phone number. Okay, so I don't know why the company categorized as a no rating. I don't know how this particular thing happened. The triager name is literally interesting. Chicken tikka. What else we can expect? Thank you. But it was a clear OTP bypass. And kudos to the developer for making such secure implementations. So leveraging EXIF tool to modify file metadata and inject accesses. So as far as I can understand, we are using a EXIF tool to modify the metadata of a particular file, and uh, we are trying it to get an accesses. So they're telling us how to use EXIF tool. So what you need to do is you need to add this comment as script alert accesses script tag close uh, in a particular picture. The picture could be anything. If you manage to upload the file, it should run the payload in the metadata. Here's a proof of its working. So if you have a comment section, so you need to add a comment on that particular image. You upload the image, and if you open that image, you can clearly see the XSSOs over here. So it's a really simple case. I knew it. Then uncovering a vulnerability in intercom widget. It's really simple. You just need to change the email in the intercom widget chat configuration. It's for the support panels. Many of you might know this. I won't waste time on this. You can search about it. It was really simple. Over here, email verification link can be used as a password reset link. It's good. It might be of low severity because uh, ultimately, if you have the access of the email, it hardly matters. I don't know. They might have given a low bounty. Okay, let's see. So over here, this is the particular. Over here there's a particular POC. The link look like something like this: binary.com step account verify token. So in this particular thing, you can, this is the link, and remove step is equal to account from the URL. You will see once you enter the email you can change password. So you just need to clear this and you can change the password. But exactly as I discussed, if you have the access of the email, if you have the verification token with you, so it hardly matters. But it would be a low severity bug, because this person says, what if attacker is able to put his hands on verification URL? Low severity क्या होगा guys, because no sense. Unauthenticated store accesses in API. Okay, it's interesting. So first, stored accesses, if you enter a XSS endpoint, it's getting stored onto the backend and you can get your hands onto it somehow. It's really cool. So when reporting bugs, na, try to be reasonably cool to understand that whether it's sensitive or not. Over here, this is the particular endpoint, and how exactly this thing is working. There might be a comment section. Okay, there might be a comment section, and a report is attached over here. It's a VDB, I guess. So what they did is, he posted a particular funny emoji over here. Then this is the particular decoded payload, but he encoded this payload using URL encoding, and it's not eligible for bounty. I don't know why. It's above my head. It's a full, it could be uh obvious, it could be escalated to a full account takeover. I don't know. But here the trick was, he used this payload and he encoded this payload so that the WAF didn't blocked it. As simple as that. Over here, talk pal vulnerability disclosure. Let's see what's this. I guess we would be able to cover 5 more in the meantime. But let's see how many more we can do. All right. Over here, it's a AI language teacher. The trick will allow you to get a free membership, probably if they don't patch for another 2, while where it normally costs $12 a month. So what exactly the bug over here is? It says create an account to read full story. Let me shift to my, okay, it's a member only story. Let me sign up using my Google account if it shows, because some stories and posts are uh, limited to the premium accounts. I don't have a premium though. It's for the premium accounts. No worries. Let's move up ahead. Reverb access token vulnerability. The name looks cool. Over here, full account takeover. So I got a okay, it's on reverb.com. I got an security issue in Reverb iOS app where an attacker hack all user accounts. Okay, so over here, Reverb iOS token is not validating access token, which allows an attacker to hack all account using his own app access token. So exactly how it's happening in here is, this is the vulnerable request, and this FB request is not getting authenticated that whether it belongs to a particular person or not. So replay vulnerable request in vulnerable in Burpsuit. You can use any other app access token. So over here, what I can understand is that due to this token it's not getting validated, so we can hack into anyone's account because it's not getting validated. Let me see how it was working. Because reading this textual documents now don't give you full clarity on how things worked. So I always prefer seeing the video POC. If we see this video POC, this is a particular request over here where the FB token is not getting. See, this FB token is not getting authenticated. So if we send this to repeater and we change this FB token. Okay. So it's okay, it's giving any random access token from developers Facebook app ID users. Okay. This was I wasn't getting that. How exactly they would generate token? Okay, so it's not generally accessing that whether it belongs to this or not. So you can see it fetch the data of any other user. Okay, got it. Now I got it. So root user disclosure domain through headers. Let's see what's in there. The name looks new to me. Matlab means the bug name looks new to me. I love this thing when I learn a lot of new things because life is all about learning. Over here, I performed a get request on a certain domain in Burbsuit to custom domain, and response showed this attribute. Okay, it's a low severity bug. It's showing the ID name UID. So if it's not sensitive at all because it's just the usernames which are in there and use burp suit and this particular thing is getting leaked. Yeah, over here. So over here we need to generate a error message. The triager says he can't reproduce this particular thing. So they are doing a discussion that how exactly this is a bug, but I didn't like this bug. When I report these kinds of bugs, na, they get closed as NA. This is SSRF bug where just change the upload type from file to URL, and in that URL you need to give a, according to my thing, you need to give a SSRF URL, upload from URL. Okay, if it uploads from URL you can get a SSRF. hmm. Easy. So simple. SSRF is all about giving your link over there. So bypass auth email domains. Let's see into this. We will complete till 30. Rest tomorrow. Over here. So how this thing works is email addresses are stored as varchar 128. However, Fabricator doesn't verify the length of the email address. This allows attacker to bypass the allowed email domains defined as. Okay, so it's a case of improper authentication or like improper input, right? Exploiting this, rather forward gets an email address, indicates the maximum length of the email address is this. Now register your 128 email characters at the rate allowed domain appended to it. The allowed domain will be truncated by MySQL can't store it. If you receive a verification email on your 128 email address, this is especially if we are using attacker at the rate gmail.com, you would receive email sent to attacker a.gmail.com. So this is related to SQL database where you need to play with the characterizations limits a bit. To be very honest, I need to understand this bug because this is new for me as well. As far as what I have understand, we basically bypassed the character limits. We played it with it and got access. So, control characters not stripped from usernames or sign up. Okay. The username you choose has to be alphanumeric. If someone allows username followed by null byte, you will get an error. Okay, so you can't use special characters in here. If you submit the username followed by control character, the request will go through and you will get signed up. Huh? Is it a bug really? You will get 404. So it's a case of improper input authorization where you can sign up as a percentage zero a. Yeah, but still the mail would go to your account. So it might be categorized as a low severity bug. Uh, it can't be escalated from this state. So yeah, that's all. Hope you like today's class. All right. So this is another bug, and its name is weird 2FA bypass. Why it's a weird 2FA bypass? Let's see. Because you know about 2FA bypass, that it's two-factor authentication bypass, and when we create a 2FA page, we generally have access to some sort of backup codes known as TOTP codes. So if you get lost access of your authenticator, so you can use those backup codes to get your account back. So in this case, as soon as I disabled it, I noticed that it was a time based one time password 2FA. Like every 30 seconds the OTP was changing inside the Google Authenticator app, but I was provided some backup codes in case I don't have access to device for TOTP. Now that was something interesting. Now how it was interesting, so while playing around with the application, I enabled the 2FA, got some backup codes in case I don't have access to the device, right? I have noted all the backup codes. The backup codes were of 8 digits. Fine. I logged out of the application. So after entering the email address and password, I was asked to enter the TOTP, means the OTP. But there was an option to log in with the backup codes. I clicked on it and intentionally put a random 8 digit number instead of 8 digit backup code, and to my surprise, it was accepted. So there was a bug that the backup codes were of 8 digit and any 8 digit number was being accepted as a backup code, and the person was getting logged in into the web application, hence resulting in a 2FA bypass. And it was really unexpected, and according to me the severity would be P2 P3, because relatively should not be a 2FA bypass, but due to some extra talented developers, this was the exact case we came across. Then other thing is hack into the HR admin panel. Let's see how it's achieved. I'm able to access the HR admin panel without any authentication. So what how exactly we did this? Let's assume the company name is bounty.com and I'm doing the recon on bounty.com using my custom word list for active subdomain scanning. That means they are searching aa.bounty.com, bb.bounty.com, like this. One of the subdomains uatbounty.com grabbed my attention. However, when I opened the subdomain, it didn't load. I thought that this subdomain might be for internal access or has been removed. But I didn't lose hope and ran GAU gather all URLs. It's a tool in Kali Linux. You can download it from GitHub or using Go installation to gather all the URLs of bounty.com. Then I used grep on uatbounty.com to check if the domain was publicly available earlier. I found 5 to 6 links of uatbounty.com that it might have been used earlier, confirming that this subdomain was accessible earlier. This is why this URL was fetched by Wayback. I tried every possible thing to access those links using X forwarded header, localhost, company, but nothing worked. I moved on from the target for some time and worked on other subdomains. In my present organization, one of the clients gave us a web application for security testing. I noticed a domain like payuatclient.com. Now you can notice here the domain was uatbounty.com. Here it's payuatclient.com. So I suddenly realized I also found uatbounty.com domain a few days ago. Then I started looking in that program again. I got the idea that one of our clients UAT environment is like payuatclient.com. Then I started brute forcing subdomains on bounty.com like this. I used Burp Suite Intruder to enumerate subdomains like it's searching for keywords before this UAT. For example, the client was using pay UAT, so they wanted to see what functions are enabled using these UAT domains. For example, I'm showing in the attack scenario as we do in the intruder many times. So after running this particular thing, I got a valid hit from the intruder. I checked each subdomain manually, but all subdomains returned 404 not found. Then I decided to let intruder finish its work, and after a few minutes, the scan finished, and I found a total of 7 subdomains. I opened all subdomains in the browser. Most of them were 404 not found and 403 forbidden. But one domain loaded some content with the name of self-service uat.bounty.com, and there was a login panel. There were only two ways to log in using Okta, sign in with Office 365. At first I thought of Okta, our secure login method. That's why when I got the subdomain I started Durfuzz instantly. But I don't know why I clicked on sign in with Okta button and directly gained access to the HR admin panel with the name of that admin. Maybe that would be the admin, like the HR of that particular company. Then I was shocked for a second. My reaction was, what just happened? Made a video proof of concept for the same, submitted it to the security team, and this issue was fixed immediately. The issue was fixed a month ago, but I didn't receive any reply from the bounty.com. Then I submitted more reports to them. I asked politely about the status of HR admin panel bug. They said they are discussing internally, and $3,000 of bounty was given, which is huge, to be very honest. Which is huge because it was an admin panel disclosure, and $3,000 account to 2,70,000 somewhere, and this bug was really interesting for me to know as well. Moving on with the next, harvesting all private invites using leaf program, fast tracked invitation, and security at the rate email forward feature. Let's see what it's all about. I found a way that it is possible to harvest all private HackerOne invitations using the Leaf program. Okay, so it can harvest all the HackerOne private program using the Leaf program function together with the security at the rate email forwarding feature without any user interaction. So first, when the program activated the security at the rate email forwarding feature on HackerOne and hacker sent an email to company configured security email security at the rate company.com. HackerOne system will send an automated invitation token to hackers, and this invitation will allow hackers to join and become a participants of private program. So exactly, if you don't understand it, I would like to know. So earlier when we mail to security at the rate, let's say abc.com, if there is a program of abc.com on HackerOne, the HackerOne sends you a invitation. HackerOne sends you an invitation of that And after that, what exactly happens? We can harvest the private programs of HackerOne. So this was the exact bug as I have understood till now, but let's see. uh, like this, you are receiving this message from this. So now hackers can choose to leave program in exchange of another automated invite. When the hacker filled up the leave program survey using the new leave program functionality, so when you leave a particular program na, you need to enter that why you are entering this particular thing. So the bug is starting from there only. HackerOne will do it for your fully automated without any user interaction. So here is the flow how exactly we need to do that. First, you have to find program with security at the rate email forwarding enabled on HackerOne. Fine. After then, this is easy. Just go HackerOne, bug bounty programs, click all the programs and send a test email to their declared security at the rate email on their public page. Fine. If you received an email invitation to submit your bug, that means security at the rate is activated for the private program. Take the private program email address configured for the email forwarding feature like security at the rate company name hacker1 at the rate company name.com. Let's take company security at the rate company.com, assuming that H1 private program are using that email forwarding address. Send a test mail to the address. You will receive an invitation email via security at the rate email forwarding. Click the submit vulnerability. You are now the participants. Now leave the program and fill up the leave survey. Then confirm leave. You will be fast tracked for invites. Invitation will come most likely arriving in the next 24 hours as stated. And you need to repeat these things and you would get a invite again and again from the programs. You are likely to receive the private program invitations. Ravi, 2 p.m. is fine in the afternoon for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then from tomorrow, na, we would be,
Okay.
or maybe not from tomorrow. We can start it from Monday 2 p.m. Fine.
Okay, sure, sure.
Okay, thank you. So this bug was reported as 2500 of bounty and a swag was rewarded, because in this case we can get the private invites from all the programs in that. So this is the whole flow. Send test email to xyz at privateprogram.com. HackerOne will send invitation to hackers via email forwarding feature. Hacker will join and become participants. Hacker will leave the private program. Hackers will receive new private invites for fast tracked invitations. Hacker becomes a participant of private program. So it was really good. That person might have got a lot of money, to be honest. Moving on to the next bug, it's of CAPTCHA protection bypass. The report is not disclosed, but over here in this report, the researcher found it was possible to bypass our CAPTCHA check by injecting a random value into the X forwarded host header. X forwarded for host header in sign in post request. At the time researchers submitted a request, we only enforced CAPTCHA checks on sign in request that had failed multiple times. So okay. So you capture a request on Burpsuit, you enter this host and enter any random value, you can bypass the CAPTCHA system, and this was awarded a $500 bounty. Very simple bug, yet effective. Then team member associated with group have read-only permissions. Post internal comments can post comments to all participants. So a team member who has only read permissions can post comments to the internal people. So this is a case of privilege escalation. Let's see, it's on HackerOne, I guess itself. Yeah. So I find a bug with it. Team members associated with group have only permission post internal comments. That means a team member who is a member of a particular team can only post internal comments. bypass it with just adding a comma. Is internal is equal to absent message and a lot of things. Now this is the particular response we would be getting back, and here is the POC video. If it is accessible now, no, it is not accessible now, so the bounty was awarded. But here the entered is internal is equal to empty. That clearly refers that they unchecked the tag that you can only post internal comments. Then bypassing callback URL validation on digits. Let's see. Seems something new to me. So over here it's on Twitter. I would like to report an issue in digits which allows attacker to bypass the callback URL validation on the application, thus take over an account. So callback URL thing is for the OAuth logins. One second. So callback URL is for the OAuth things, and the person was able to do account takeover using this. How exactly? Digits is a part of Fabric SDK which offers phone based sign in. It also provides web login flow in the web based things. And in the navigation based authentication flow, the OAuth credential data is passed to the specific callback URL after a user granted access to the application. This parameter is supposed to be validated to match the registered domain of the application. Here is an example of Periscope. For example, digits use this customer key to verify a user on periscope.tv. If we modify it to uh, change it to example.com, so does not match the application's registered domain, thus the request is rejected. Now it is noticed that the validation is rather loose. For example, it parses the URL and compares only the host name part. In other words, the URL with authority part is allowed, means any URL with HTTP is allowed. For example, whatever at the rate www.periscope.tv, it is still a solid validation because the hostname part is correctly handled. Something like this, whatever www periscope won't work. However, it is discovered that outputting a non ASCII character in the header, it would get converted to a question mark. So what exactly they did, they used a question mark and it got changed somehow, and the validation was done. So prepare a Periscope account which is associated with the phone number. Log into Periscope using the phone number with digits Webflow, and you can use this particular thing. The, after that, your account will renamed as Pond. Right. Video demo is over here. If this works, I don't know if it would be working. No, the video POCs are deleted. So it would be a high bounty. Then there is a ticket trick. It might be a ticket trick on acronis.com. Let's see how it works. So it was rewarded a $750 bounty. So at GitHub, send a account register verification emails from github.com. I registered an account on Acronis with same email. Okay. Now your support system creates tickets of emails sent to support mobility acronis.com. So I registered an account on GitHub, logged in into my Acronis account with exact same mail on github.com. As Acronis allowed me to see support tickets without email verification, so I was able to see support tickets easily created by no reply. So okay, it was an improper access control because Acronis was allowing to see the mails without verification. That's why on support ticket there was an email verification link to no reply at the rate github.com. In this way, I was able to take over many accounts registered with support mobility and many internal accounts that was accessed by Acronis. Nice bug. Totally got it. It was really cool. OTP bypass by resend button. Now this seems good. My first bounty write up about my first valid finding, a very simple account takeover bug in a target who wasn't running any bug bounty program. Oh, this is strange. Uh, so what exactly they did? Two accounts of the target attacker and victim. Then target has a login option. Users can log in with both by entering a password or a OTP. Assume that the attacker and victim have created their accounts on the target. Fine. Now from the attacker's perspective, try to log in into victim's account with OTP by entering victim's phone or username. Fine. A 6-digit code will be sent to the victim. After 60 seconds, click the resend button and capture the request. Modify the phone parameter with attacker's phone number, where the attacker will receive message. Forward the request. Now the attacker will receive the OTP, and after entering it, he will be successfully logged in into the victim's account. Okay, so it was really good because initially you enter the username of victim, but in the resend button you enter the phone number of attacker. So it didn't verify it that the OTP is being sent to the attacker, and it validated the victim's account. It was really cool, but these bugs are out of luck as well. So when the team fixed this issue, I found another similar vector that could be abused. It was asking OTP if the user requested to delete the account. So the endpoint was also vulnerable. And the second program, like the functionality was also vulnerable to these particular thing. And yeah, that was good. It was good. 2FA bypass on Netflix. Oh, good. Let's see. So over here, first let's confirm your identity, email, a code, confirm payment details. During my participation in Netflix bug bounty program, I discovered a vulnerability that allowed to bypass their multi-factor authentication implemented on change email endpoint. This was possible due to this was possible due to the existence of alternative methods for changing the email address that didn't require completing the multi-factor authentication process. This finding was rated as P3 on Bugcrowd. And how exactly it worked: when logging into your Netflix account, you can update your email address at this URI. Upon visiting this link, you will be redirected to the MFA endpoint. Fine, which requires your identity verification before you make any changes. Verification option includes receiving a code via email, phone number, or providing the credit card number associated with your account. This means if you can manage to steal someone's credentials, you can still need to complete the MFA process to change the email address and take over the account completely. Some common MFA to FA bypass techniques include the following: response manipulation, direct request to the endpoint, missing 2FA code integrity validation, lack of brute force protection, rate limiting, 2FA code leakage and response. So none of these worked in this case due to the reason I considered the MFA endpoint secured at the stage of testing. But in this vlog, I present a finding where an alternative endpoint, extra member, create credentials on Netflix lagged multi-factor authentication. So there might be a endpoint where we can add an extra member and we can create credentials for him or her, lagged the security over here. So what exactly we need to do is navigate to Netflix your account and select change email. You will encounter MFA page. To bypass this, visit netflix.com extra member, create credentials, complete the form using the new email address and password, then click next. You will be redirected to netflix.com and add your email address, password. You will be updated without requiring MFA. Okay, so say they use this endpoint to bypass the multi-factor authentication. So Netflix offers certain features to specific countries. I created some automation to go on Netflix help center pages. One page caught my attention extra member at the time of testing. Okay, so this feature was not enabled on all the versions of Netflix. It was enabled in some countries. Okay, this person did a very thorough study on Netflix. It means that in order to get access to that functionality, you need to register from one of those countries and pay for subscription. It was a really cool finding. To test it, I tried with IP addresses from all these three countries. To proceed with paying the subscription for some countries, it's also possible to buy gift cards from third party websites and use them during the payment process in Netflix. However, in this case, for these three countries, I didn't find a way to buy any gift card. Eventually, I gave up trying to pay for the subscription as none of the payment methods worked. While being engaged in bug bounty program, I believe it would be beneficial if you subscribe for the company's newsroom so you can receive news about the recent changes and introduction to new features. In Netflix case, I noticed that the following article was released on this date, that there is an update to this particular feature. So over the last year, we have been exploring different approaches to address this issue in Latin America. Now we are ready to roll out more broadly in coming months, where we can give access to extra member. So new countries were available, so they used VPN and made the payment, and this feature was available to him, and that's how the bug was found out. It was really good finding. The person really did a great job, and I would see what would be the bounty. This person didn't disclose the bounty, but it's fine. The finding was great. Admin panel bypass by using the remove user agent. In this story, I am explaining a vulnerability that I reported to the program in HackerOne. Okay, so what exactly they did? The target is a private program, so I can't disclose anything, and it has an admin panel which secured with a zero auth proxy panel. I don't know how is that thing works exactly, but for non-authenticated users, here is what you see when you visit admin.target.com. So you need to click on sign in with Google. The proxy somehow recognizes the unauthenticated user, then requiring the user to log in with Google. I knew that's a proxy panel. You may find yourself logged in if you bypass the page that requires you to log in with Google. So what exactly this person did is, there was this particular user agent. From here, he removed this user agent. This HTTP request actually sends a multiple HTTP request by one request, which contain two responses at one time. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's a HTTP feature. The HTTP request was actually made in two, but I converted into one by one. Where you can see, you may say what a trash request, especially if you know that that's not correct way of exploit HTTP request smuggling. So I reported the vulnerability to the program. Review the program policy. If you reach a normal, 1 second. Hello. हेलो. हाँ जी अंकुर भैया, मैं ना मीटिंग सी तभी मैं कट्टिया सी. So what exactly we need to do is, if you reach a normal login panel, please let us know on the admin panel. They are telling, that's what I did. I reported the vulnerability to the program with the title HTTP request smuggling leads to bypass admin panel proxy. They trashed the report in less than 10 minutes, updated the severity to critical. I was starting at the report because I was shocked. Why is that critical issue? Then one of the program triagers responded, told me actually if I was logged in the normal admin panel with my normal user credentials that I created on target.com for my own account, I was able to act as admin by logging into the admin panel. I was able to modify everything for the website. That's why the updated the severity to critical, and the bounty was $5,000, $3,000 to $5,000. After a minute later they told me actually the admin panel is actually not bypassed because my junk HTTP request, the admin panel is bypassed because I didn't use any user agent HTTP headers. The HTTP request I used as POC is totally different thing. Actually the attacker is able to bypass the proxy panel by only removing the user agent header. So like the developer was high on weed. So yeah, exactly that's how it happened. And you should see the normal website login panel in admin login endpoint, and also remove the proxy login. The vulnerability resolved and 4-digit bounty was awarded in only 1 hour. This person earned lakhs of rupees in just 5-10 minutes. The program was awesome and they really appreciated me. I appreciated my friend for suggesting me to learn HTTP request smuggling, and yeah, it was good. Like kudos to these people who find these bugs, and I am able to explain that uh, to many of you guys. So yeah, really kudos to the guys. Oh, use inspect element to access admin page. uh, so that person was testing a website. I was aiming to find interesting directories to access the admin panel. I used FFF for this and accessed a directory called CMS but got forbidden, and I found the admin page. Again, I used FFF to bypass the admin login page and access the admin features. And I skipped login as CMS admin 5. This is the last page I came to. As you can see, I cannot access the page. It redirects me back to the login page, and but I couldn't get any results. I was about to give up after struggling for a bit. What would happen if I remove the middle box from the inspecting element? It would be easy if it worked, but I tried it anyway and it worked. I had to do was press inspect element in the back area and deleted the selected area. So just use inspect element to delete this. I was able to access the IT manager's conversation, change some admin properties. The point here is to try even things we think would be silly, but it would be good. This was easy, but yeah, innovative for sure. Rate limits leads to account takeover, might be a case of OTPs. So firstly, I found no rate limit on forgot password, but also they had email flooding in their out of scope section. I tried to brute force passwords to check the no rate limit on the login form. In the payload section, I added the correct password to validate the brute force attack. I started the attack in intruder but didn't get 200 on the correct password. I was getting 401 unauthorized on every respect. That means they were properly authenticating everything, and things like these totally get things on a difficult endpoint. The website gave an error and I was not able to log in into my account. Website was locking out the account after 10 failed attempts for approx 10-15 minutes. First, password brute forcing on login form leads to locking out victim from signing into the account. They directly said brute forcing is out of scope and closed this report. I doubt they didn't even check the complete report, okay? But I believe that this bug is valid and attackers can exploit it. So I created a new report and presented the bug differently. Locking out of the victim's user from signing into the account by using, or it's the same thing. See, Ravi, how they manipulate the reports. Just change the words. Locking out a victim user from signing in by failed wrong login attempts. It's the one and the same thing. So if the block user is an ordinary user, okay, and remediation, finally the program decided to accept my report and paid me 50 euros. It's, you can see the difference clearly, Ravi, that how exactly things differ. He reported the same thing but he just manipulated the wording and got 50 euros. But it wasn't a account takeover. This was misleading. Over here, this particular thing was misleading. Okay, it said account lockout. Okay, it's fine. If it's account lockout, it's good. I might have read wrong. So weird and very easy authentication bypass found with Google Docking. Let's see. In this post, I will explain how I found an authentication bypass, and further The target had a wide scope and main domain didn't have much functionality. So after quick look around, I started enumerating subdomains and Google docking with the following search query: in URL, the domain name. During the Google doc, I found the domain name redacted.cloud, means the domain name .cloud. Then I narrowed my search query. One of the domains I found with the Google search was a site that displayed something like loading data. I noticed the site was written in React because of the well-known React favicon. After a few seconds before the data on the site was actually loaded, the browser redirected me to the company's login portal, but I didn't have a proper look at the site. I decided to open it again in the new tab to have a proper look. To my surprise, this time all data loaded and I didn't get redirected to the login portal. I did not really understand why this behavior was happening, but after a little more trying, I concluded that all I had to do is to bypass the login was to open the site in a new tab. After the bypass, it's time to explore what's possible with this site. This site had a list of 1902 domains owned by the company, each with type: business owner, technical owner, legal entity field. Via the site, it was possible to edit these fields, but it wasn't possible to delete, add, and edit domains. So you can edit the fields of type: business owners. I decided to keep looking around to find out if any of these actions are possible. I opened Burpsuit and had the look at the requests that were made when I edited the type field of the domain. The domain of which I was editing the type was also sent in the request body. So try changing this to grumpynow.b. When I refreshed the page, the domain was presented in the list. The endpoint to edit add a row was update. So I tried the following endpoint: remove to try and delete my previously added row. Unfortunately, this didn't work, but I tried delete. This time it worked. The domain was now removed from the list. Via the site, I was able to download a list of all the domains, and one domain in the list was vulnerable for takeover. The authentication bypass submission was marked as high severity. Fixed within 24 hours, the entire site and API were taken offline. For those who are in, okay, I didn't receive any since the program did not pay any bounties. So companies do that. It's a hard fact. Account takeover through sign up functionality. Let's see in this. So I had two registered accounts and one unregistered account: victim @ gmail.com, attacker @ gmail.com, and this is unregistered for now. Account takeover through sign off functionality. Verification mails were not sending by the website, means they are not sending any verification mails. I filled all details such as first name, last name, password, confirm password, email with unregistered email, let's say abc @ gmail.com. So they entered a unregistered mail. They are trying to sign up using a unregistered mail. One second. Yep. Then I filled abc.com because on each keystroke of email input field, a function was sending a request just to check if the email is already registered or not. This is a common functionality to check if an email is registered or not. I also changed the response of checking emails request of registered email from false to true. Just to bypass, there was no success. Intercept the registrations request of abc.com and sent to Burpsuit repeater tab. So I changed the email from abc.com to victim @ gmail.com and forwarded the request. There was no success, means I was not able to register with already registered email. So they changed this email address to victim @ gmail.com. On the second time, I added %0a after the email address. So this is a null byte. If you are not properly configuring your database, this null byte would be treated as a new thing. So at this time, I got success to create an account with already registered account, and then I clicked to the web page. I got access to the victim's account. So this was the same thing: account takeover through password reset functionality. Go to the forgot password, Fill the attacker's email in the input field. Password reset was sent to the attacker's email. There was a link to reset the password in the mail. I visited that link and a page was opened for the reset password functionality. I filled the new password and confirm password input field. Intercept this request and change the email parameters value from attacker to victim. So it didn't verified exactly that whether it belongs to this particular thing. Then I visited the login page, filled the victim's email and recent change password, and was able to get the access. Then account takeover through weekly implemented password reset token. So here's a password token. If there is equal to at the end, it's base 64. It contains the ID value. Either you can get the email ID change, you can change the user ID. Then I counted a user ID, email ID to make password reset token, and you can change the password of any user. Account takeover to reusable password token, again base 64. Change the victim email ID, good to go. And that were different mutations of doing these things. Then XSS on user agent. Over here this person tried doing XSS over here, script nvj onload, and it was successful. Now you can see here the message is reflecting on the web page, and it was not of a high severity for now. Bypassing the closing of the account and logged again to your account. Okay, so over here my account has been closed, so I was playing around, found this bug that allows me to log in again to my account through unused non expired reset password tokens. As you reset your password, the web app redirects directly to your profile. Good. Actions, adding photos, right? Okay, so you can perform some things or not. So all my accounts have been closed. I don't know the reason, so I played around. So they used basically the unused forgot password token to get back into the account, and this bug was triaged and a bounty was awarded. It's good. Then there is a rate limit bypass. Let's see. Okay, unique rate limit worth $1,800 bounty. Let's see what's innovative in this. So I got a target one day which states rate limit is out of scope, with a note that they are completely secure from any type of rate limits on any endpoint. I decided to give a try on bypassing it, even if it's out of scope, just to prove company statement wrong. On any of their endpoint, there were two things responsible for preventing rate limit: X security token header, X reCAPTCHA token header. So this X captcha token header consists of captcha token, and X security token consists of a long value. Every time a new request is made, value of both of these parameters changes. So probably we can't even send same request more than one time. So I removed the X reCAPTCHA token. It showed an error: captcha token invalid or not found. So how I was able to bypass it? After reviewing some responses, I found that X disabled reCAPTCHA is equal to 0. I immediately removed the previous header from the request and added X disabled reCAPTCHA header with value 1. It says reCAPTCHA is disabled, it says 0, so we would change it to 1. On sending this request, instead of getting an error, it showed a different thing: security token is invalidated or already used. We were able to bypass the reCAPTCHA token, but still the security token was preventing, and I tried every method to bypass the security token, but nothing worked. So I just thought that it is not vulnerable. After a few days, again I opened the burp file and started to observe all the endpoints. To my surprise, I found an endpoint which was responsible for the generation of security tokens, and there was no rate limit mechanism only to that particular endpoint. Now, the normal behavior of security token should that as soon as a new token is generated, the old one should be expired immediately if it is unused, right? To my surprise, I manually copied 10 security tokens and sent the request with header 1, and all the requests were successful. I created a simple script to create 1000 unique security tokens using the previously found endpoint, imported this token into the intruder, XCAPTCHA to 1, and at last I told them I was able to bypass their mechanism on all their endpoint, making their bold statement wrong, to which they awarded me 1800, although it was out of scope. That's it, guys, and that was all right. Uske baad unauthorized sign up on subdomain of subdomain leading to organizational takeover. This seems cool. Let's see. Hello people, I'm sharing another 4-digit write-up which is one of my very old findings. So this person got a subdomain of subdomain server. What content was present on this subdomain? This page contains a normal login page. Upon observing UI, I guess this is used to manage source codes and other things by directly giving access to the GitHub account. So maybe this login portal was meant for employees, or only employees are given credentials to access further. Now I was just wondering what to do next. Search for JS files, use GitHub docs, but nothing interesting came in. This domain was not mentioned anywhere. I observed that there is a URL which says sign in return, and tried to change the sign in to other things, register, get started, sign up, and other things. So showed me a sign up page asking for an email password. Still I was in doubt. After clicking on register, it showed me error that sign up is not possible, just like Jira. But guess what, it allowed me to sign up using email, and I was successful in signing into the account. Now next task was to see what access we have and what sensitive information we have. I was not able to believe my eyes. They were using the server portal to manage all their GitHub codes, even the private repositories. Any new user was given direct access to all the code shared on this portal. Now when I tried to access the same repo from the portal, then it was easily accessible, and I was able to see the credentials as well as the server secret files. The cloud credentials are over here, leading to full account takeover. All of their private repositories were accessible. All of their secret API keys and admin account credentials were visible. It was a complete organizational takeover. I immediately created a report, and the team tried and fixed this report within 40 minutes, making the portal inaccessible from public view. Although they rotated any credentials exposed, they rewarded me with their highest bounty, $2,000. Even if something is not in scope, give it a try. Don't try aggressive testing, but still look for critical vulnerability. So ideally the subdomains were not in scope for this particular thing, but yeah, and these things, it was in scope, but turned out to be a great catch for this person. Weird improper access control. So why it's weird? I am testing a website that contains 3 user roles: owner, admin, normal user, which can a normal user can only read and write. Let's refer to the company as private. I have created a project for myself with my email 1, so I am the owner of the project. Now I invited my second email 2 with admin privileges. I tried to remove the owner, because become the owner, etc., from my admin account, but all attempts failed. Finally, I thought to check for similar issues through a normal user. I invited my third email 3 from admin's account. I checked whether the owner can see that I invited someone or not, and it turns out the owner can see that I invited another user into the project, and also the owner can delete the invite. Also, I checked every basic functionalities like becoming owner, admin, removing admin, but not able to find anything useful. Finally, after spending 3-4 hours, I was not able to find anything interesting. Finally, I thought, what if I invite someone whose account doesn't exist? Okay, so I invited my other email address into the project, email 4, and the account of email 4 doesn't exist. To my surprise, the owner is not able to see that. I invited email 4 into the project. If the email 4 user creates an account and accepts the invite, then only the owner can see that user. Now I can invite any other user as an admin without the owner seeing it. But now you may think that what is the benefit of inviting another user if you are already an admin? So in this is a project sharing website. It contains confidential information. Now if the owner removes admin from the project due to any reason, the admin can rejoin project by using older invite links which is sent to email for. Similarly, attacker can invite new mails, keep on joining every time. There is no way to stop it. Due to this issue, confidential information get leaks and it's a bounty for sure. This was good. I found it in one company, so I was aware of this particular thing. Permanent DOS with one click. Oh, good. Let's see. This is the last report we would be doing for this particular video. How we do that? Before you start testing, create two accounts: attacker account, victim account. Confirm email to send messages. Log in into the attacker's account, message the victim from attacker's account, delete the attacker's account, then log into the victim's account. Check the victim's email box. The victim cannot use the account again. Okay. So here's a video POC of the same. You delete the account and the victim can not use their account again. It's good. So let's say I message 100 people and then delete my account, so the account of 100 people would be gone. Strange. It leads to DOS on a lot of people. Critical. That was cool. And
Okay.
so we would start from 51 over here. Access control bug performed restricted action in developer settings by low. Now what does that mean is, over here there it's a $500 bug. And what exactly was the bug? Okay, I guess it's restricted, we can't read it because of the premium member only story. So it was a BAC where we were able to perform some restricted actions in developer settings. Most probably it might be through the APIs, but we can't say much and it's restricted, so we can't see that. Behind the scenes of a security bug, the perils of 2FA cookie generation. Over here they are explaining a bug of 2FA bypass. So they are saying, suppose I have successfully enabled the 2FA on target. Now when I enter my credentials, click on login and capture the request, it shows cookies like this: cookie consent true, PHP session ID this. Now it's asking me for 2FA OTP, and now what I have done, I refresh the page and capture the request, and now it shows cookies like this once he refreshes the page. Now I got the confirmation that it generates the login account cookie before completing the 2FA process. Due to that, I already have one update profile request in my Bob suite. Now I have replaced the cookie and send the request and it gives status true. So what exactly it's saying, that even before the 2FA is entered at the backend, the login account cookie is created. So ideally this should not be the case. After 2FA the login cookie should be created. So this person interchanged the cookies of login with a request to update account. That means a person can update, delete and edit account without even completing the whole 2FA process. So this is due to the cookie, because this cookie is already generated before filling the right OTP. And if you have the edit account settings, only thing you need to do is replace these cookies so that you are into that session and you can update anything. So it would be a 2FA bypass for sure. This was interesting. And over here there is a zero click complete account takeover. So over here the application is sending back end requests such as check exist user to perform validation of the user and check existence. Okay, over here the email, they are saying it's checking for the user existence and it's giving out the post request along expecting an email ID which I use to validate the user. Once the server confirms the user existence, it will send back with the username, hash and value. There is no limitation to this endpoint. We can get hash of any user belongs to the organization. At first glance I have identified it as a type of username enumeration, and I am positive that this finding will be marked as NA or P4 because username enumeration would be marked as P4. So along with that, I observed when a password reset is initiated, a backend request for endpoint set password Cognito admin is sent to password change. Observe that the password reset request accepting username hash and password value to change the password. So usko chahiye kya? Only the username hash and the password value, and we can change this particular thing. So ideally इसने किया क्या होगा? He got the username hash from that endpoint. He filled that particular password and he can change the ID and password of any person, resulting in a zero click account takeover, and it's a P1 bug. Yesterday I found something bug like that. It's not resolved, so I can't show you the POC right now. So somewhat similar. Over here there is a business logic flaw where a non-premium user can change update retailers to get cashback of all retailers associated. So how does this thing works is, log into a non-premium user account, navigate to earn curve cash, and you can select only 3 retailers because you are non-premium users. So as you are non-premium user, you can only select 3 retailers and click on confirm. You can now add 3 retailers to your account and you don't have any option to update the added retailers. Now go back to the earn curve cache functionality and make sure to capture the request and response. This is the request and this is the response. Over here it has the retailer ID and everything. Now change the response body with JSON and turn off the, it deleted all the merchants from here. Only success true and deleted the merchant ID. Now you select any 3 new retailers and click on confirm. Now you have now successfully updated and changed the retailers, can use the cashback of all retailers associated with curve. Okay, so if we did that manually, we can only add 3 retailers, but once we did the response manipulation, we use these 3 retailers as well, then we use 3 retailers more, and that's how we can use the retailers again and again to get the benefit of that particular bug. It was good. It's good. Then WordPress username disclosure, it's a kind of low category bug. I have found it a lot on many targets, but every target doesn't really pay for it. But yeah, most of them pay $100 to $250 bounty. Over when you go to this particular endpoint na, WP users, it leaks the usernames of the people using WordPress. So they sometimes gives bounty, sometimes it's turned as informative bug. Then able to verify any email address you don't own. It would be a medium or high level severity bug. So during testing, it's been found that account.shopify, it's possible to change email address to any email address that you don't own. Confirm that due to the token being leaked. Over here the confirmation token is being leaked, and once you get that particular token, you can see basically confirm that account. It's token leaked in response kind of bug. These bugs are by, like, you have a good luck, then only you find that. And ability to see hidden likes. Over in Twitter, copy the raw request, paste it into proxy, change the user ID in the URL if you want to test again, send the request. Once you change the URL ID, you can see the hidden likes of that particular user. Over here the thing into place changing the user ID. That's why it's under the category of improper access control. Chaining two vulnerabilities leads to account takeover. That might be interesting. Let's see into it. Over here there are two different vulnerabilities. The first vulnerability is user enumeration, where we can see what username exists, and second is login brute force. So over using this endpoint, he gets all the emails from that particular thing. Then once getting the mail, you put your email over here. Then you need to do the login brute force by giving a passlist.txt, by getting the passwords right, and that's how you can brute force any 8 characters password. So it's categorized as high due to rate limit missing and email enumeration, but the bounty won't be that much because it's not a very easy bug to execute, because brute forcing and things are not categorized. It was a big company, Instagram, is why they say it might have relevance for them, but if you report into some small companies, I refrain, they would say it's a hypothetical scenario. Then there is two-factor authentication bypass. How it works is log in with an administrator account, click on administrator profile, you add groups, group name enforcement, new user, you type the username as bypass, password as this, add user in group enforcement. Fine. Click on administrator's profile icon, settings, security, two-factor authentication. Enforcement of two-factor authentication can be set for certain groups only. Two-factor authentication is enforced for all members of the following group. So enforcement group को enable the 2FA authentication. Now save changes, log out, log in with username and password. The response message is two-factor authentication is enforced but has not been configured on your account. Contact your admin for assistance. Log in with username with another session. Replace the OC session paraphrase token with first OC session paraphrase. So over here we are playing with the cookies. Once you use this, so you need to interchange that OC session paraphrase. From first, you first log in onto one session, it would show you a 2FA error message, then log into another session, just replace those cookies and the 2FA would be bypassed. As simple as that. Then there is blind SSRF through profile picture upload. How this thing's working is, okay, so it what it's doing is, uh he captured a post request, all right, on that particular profile update thing. He gave a particular svj file with xml payload, so I replaced with an svj file having the link of the collaborator, right, having the link of the collaborator. And if this is a public url like a profile picture endpoint, if you can send it to anyone viewing that particular thing, the ip would get leaked, right, the ip would get leaked and it would be a proper ssrf. We have done that many times. Then bug bounty, how I found sensitive information disclosure. Let's see what's sensitive over here. So he tried to find the origin IPs using Sensei, Shodan security trails, FOFA, Zoomai, automation approach using Uncover tool. And here's the explanation of Uncover tool. Then he used this particular syntax like uncover target these particular search engines, HTTPX to see what are the live targets, T to get the IPs of that particular thing. After a few seconds I got some IPs and started opening IPs manually. We can use open multiple URLs. I have that extension over here. He got one IP that contains some juicy files, access control and password control. Now these are very sensitive files, like it contains the usernames, hash, passwords of internal system. Then we did the whois IP to verify that it belongs to that particular target, and they gave the bounty. And it's the tool is good, uncover tool. You can mark it important, the uncover tool. Then OAuth misconfiguration leads to account takeover. Sign up with OAuth method, then log out the account, then log in with the same Gmail account. What happens here is now attacker can easily log in into victim's account, which bypasses the verification method. So here the instructions are somewhat unclear. What exactly you need to do is use login with an OAuth flow, but change the email internally, then log out, and then try to enter with that particular email. But you can access that similar account with your OAuth method too. So it's known as account takeover using OAuth misconfiguration. How I found creative bug, how able to change the impact from low to high. Let's see what's creative in this. Over here, when I tried changing the username, the request contains like this: first name, last name, gender, male, date of birth, phone number, token user, right? In this case, I added some parameters like email, email user, email confirm, etc. But all my attempts were in failure. I left the target for a few hours and then tried again. Well, it worked this time. I found this parameter that changes User's email after that they confirm it email address. This is a vulnerability and a violation of secure design principles. So I found this parameter changes the user's email after they confirm it email address. Okay, so you can use this particular request to change the email of any person after he verifies this particular thing. uh but wait a minute, why don't we try raising the impact to get a big reward? Have you thought of anything else with me? Account takeover. Since we changed the mail, there may be a weakness, but the road was about to be closed because there was a token. But slow down, go back. There is are the methods of bypassing CSRF. I found method 2. The server is not validating another CSRF. So what he did, he used his own CSRF in another request to basically send him a CSRF attack. So what exactly he did, add parameter email address, bypass CSRF token with by giving another CSRF token, create CSRF POC and report account takeover. It would be categorized as P2 because it's not a zero click account takeover. Then MFA bypass by race condition. Let's see this. It's a members only story, we can't view that. We use turbo intruder for race condition bugs, just telling you. Then there is unauthenticated cache purging vulnerability. It's categorized as low. What you need to do is you need to do like this: curl head and the target.com, check for the presence of x cache header. If there is a x cache header, you need to do like this: curl x purge example.com, and if you get an ID like this, you just report it to the company, and it would be unauthenticated cache purging. I reported it onto one company. They categorized it as a low severity bug. You can use nuclei to find such bugs. Then there is business logic in inviting additional members. Now you may have guessed that this write-up is about how I found 4 business logics in single program, and the total reports were 2300. Now first, what was the first vulnerability? Business logic in inviting additional members. As I said, that in a team plan we can invite only 3 members, and then per member additional cost was $32. I already had 3 members added, but now I cannot add more. I have to delete a member first and then invite. But here there was a big misconfiguration. Enter all the details of the member and click on send invitation. The member will get a invite accept link, and after clicking that link, the user will be added. Member used the link and was added in the team. Like this, we can add up to 3 members. But here the misconfiguration present was that until the user accepts the invitation, the member count was not increasing. So we can send unlimited invitation. So first we can send the invitation link to 10 members and then accept all. So hua kya, it's working like if I send invitation to one person, if he accepts, then the count goes to 1. Then I send the invitation, then if he accepts, the count goes to 2. What if it send the invitation to 10 people, then accept all the 10 requests? See, active members 3, limit is 3. So it was a total bug and the reward was 500 USD. Now no plan user can invite members. Now if a person is not even having a plan, he can invite users too. Capture the post request responsible for inviting you new user and send this to repeater. Change the authorization token to a token user having no plan. Also change the workspace ID parameter. Send the request, it was successful. Instead of showing forbidden error, the user was invited. So उसका कोई plan भी नहीं है user का, still he can invite users for free. Third vulnerability, race condition in creating browser profiles. I first created 298 profiles, then again clicked on create a new profile and capture the request. Then you can use a uh, extension known as turbo intruder, as I told. You can even use your own Python script. As the tag ended, the total count of browser profiles was 306, because what it does is it executes multiple requests at the same time. By the time it handles the request, we can exceed that limit. As we can see, 306 are already done. So the reward was 500 as well for this. The write-ups are amazing by people. Thanks to all the people who have contributed to these write-ups. My job is to just explain them in a better sense. I own no credit to these particular write-ups. No privileged users can view data workspace through API. So first invite a member with user role permission. The role has no permission to see other members and plan used. Fine. But by directly sending the API call, that is, for example, if we directly send this particular API calls, we can see everything. Being a low member user as well. That means the API is not properly working. Then he found out origin IP leaked leading to firewall bypass. He got 300. That's how 2300 was the total bounty which this person got. The write up was amazing. Then email verification bypass via Remember Me. So go to sign up page, enter password and click on sign up. You would be redirected to another URL that will show you to verify your mail by clicking on link that is sent to the email. Now simply remove this particular part of the token and make it dashboardexample.com. It would automatically redirect it to login. Enter email password that you used to create an account and haven't verified it. Now the site provides a remember me button. Just click on it and click on login. What do you think? Verification is bypassed? Yeah, but wait, it would be redirected to that path again. But believe me, this time we bypassed it. Now repeat the steps again. Just go to this endpoint and you would be redirected to your dashboard. It's due to improper cache control and cookie controlling. It was an easy case, but as I say, these are rare scenarios, guys. A unique email verification bypass. As this is my first write up, so forgive me if I okay, forgiven. Now, what I did exactly, I created two accounts in two different browsers, one on Chrome, one on Firefox, with different emails, and then I got the verification email in the box. So I thought of replacing the verification link of first account in second. I pasted the first account verification link in browser 2 and which second account was created, then hit enter. Boom, my second account was verified with the verification link of first. So interchanging both the things leads to a email verification bypass, and see what the company says. It's a low severity bug. That's how they save money. They would fix this bug, but they would say it's a low privilege bugs. That's the most irritating thing about all these scenarios, to be very honest. Over here, what is this bug? Delete sub agent accounts. So what we need to do is log in into the application and note that user is reacting as a victim. Okay, this user is as a victim. Navigate to the manage sub agents, click on add sub agent. This agent lowers the users. Filling up the sub agent details and click on add. You can see I am logged out as Maulik Goti user. Now I am login like Mike Patel user. This user is reacting as an attacker. Fine. Navigate to the manage sub agent, click on sub agent. Fine. Now select the added sub agent and click on delete button. Click yes to confirm, yes to give confirmation and capture the request. If you carefully see here, yes, you can see I got a API request and noticed in the request has two user IDs. First ID is logged user, the second is a sub agent ID. If you see over here, the second is the sub agent ID. What if you change both the user ID adding the victim's ID and then forwarding the request? You can see I got a successful message from the server, but sub agent is not deleted. Now log out as Mike Patel account. Now I'm logging as Mike and the sub agent would be deleted for that particular account and it would be categorized as a high. It's basically a BAC, broken access control. Some companies would say how you got the emails for both the people, but in case of emails they accept it, but in case of UUIDs, unless and until it's numeric, they accept it. Then the other bug is HSTS bugs. Easiest P4. Now it says I am about to drop the easiest P4, which is accepted on a few platforms and even VDPs. Impact is just missing headers, but it is accepted by many VDPs. So what you need to do is, without HSTS, attackers can trick browsers into communicating into HTTP. And go to example.com, open developer tools, go to network, reload the page, inspect the response headers of the main document. observe the absence of strict transport security header, and it's basically P5 bug, but some companies do accept it. 404 error leads to information disclosure, and he got $100 of bounty. Okay, the matrices, I reported it into one company and I too got the bounty of $100. So this is the particular endpoint, the matrices endpoint. It leaks the information, but sometimes companies say it as a P5 bug. Then there is a 401 unauthorized uh, access bypass. Over here, if you see at this particular thing, it says 401 unauthorized. Normally, a client can't access application tokens because of front nginx server which returns 404. But we can use x rewrite URLs, x original URLs, because back server processes these headers and front server doesn't. So once you do that, you can bypass the security and you can see the files which are saying as 401 unauthorized. You need to use only these two headers. Just keep this in mind. Then this comes to SAML bypass. So create an account and login. Fine. Here 234435 is my username. Intercept the request in burp suite. Fine. We intercept the request in burp suite. Here we can see we have a SAML response. To read it, add burp extension SAML raid cert. It's a XML based markup language used to facilitate identity checks and large scale applications. Now you can be able to read it. You can see the ID number. Create one more users with ID number 30 and replace it with the intercepted response. SAML usually uses a signature to ensure data integrity. Signature based security is not always well implemented. So after struggling so much, I got to know you could try removing the signatures. And once he removed the base 64 signature and added another user, he was able to basically it's a complete account takeover because you can log in as any users. Then it comes to 2FA secret cannot be rotated. Let's see this. So this is a simple bug that when we configure 2FA, the secret remains same. There's always a secret embedded on that particular QR code. If once you enable a 2FA, then you disable it, then you enable again. If the secret of both those requests are same, then it's for sure a 2FA not rotated thing. Account takeover by creating guest account. Let's see this. Over here, what you need to do is the victim email. This victim has an account in the web application. I used HackerOne also have an account in that. They use API after login with email and found one get based API endpoint that gives all the details with the authorization bearer token. So what exactly you need to do is, I first decoded this JWT token and it has some ID but more difficult to crack. Looked for the way to find some JWTs but no use. I logged out and tried to book a ticket without login. Then I tried to book ticket. It asked to sign in. I simply clicked on continue as guest and entered the random value as victim @test.com. When he did that, he got the JWT token of the victim. Now, according to me, he got an idea that what if he tried to enter as guest but enter the mail of victim. Just copy that JWT. Now go to the request where we have tested this get profile thing and we can see the details of victim. So it's simple account takeover. That's good. That's good. It really delighted me. Then DOS on WordPress, it would be through XML, RPC or WP cron PHP. I'm not even going to that. Then there is Telerik report server. Oh, it's a CVE. So if you have this particular CVE, you can see to get the RC. Yeah, it's a deserialization RC. If you ever see a Telerik report server, try to find the CV, or you can use a Shodan extension for easy job. Then there is parameter pollution. where you find some parameters and you try to pollute it. What you need to do is, okay, so over here you have this particular request, and if you try to run this request, it shows like this, the 403, right, forbidden. What if you try polluting these requests? If you give like this id 100, id 101, it doesn't work. But if you give like this id 100, 101, so it shows you the content of both the ids. So that's how you play with these particular things. Then you can play with these particular parameters for trying to do excesses. So here are the variants of all the parameter pollutions you can do. There are a lot of variants. You can see that. Then abuse, report abuse leads to comment modification. How that thing works is, it was surprised to see that comment content was getting sent as a request parameter as text. Now if you try to upload a comment, you can see that as a plain text thing. So after intercepting the request, I changed the text parameters value from nice to some offensive text, then observed the response. It got a okay and we got the bounty. So it was how it working. Let's say we found a comment and we didn't want this comment to be there, and I clicked on abuse function. Once I click on abuse, I capture the request. In the abuse function, you can see we are reporting it now. We can see the content of that particular thing over here. We can see the content of that particular comment. We click on it's nice over here, we can change it to anything and it would be a bug. That's strange. I always say these type of scenarios are totally wild luck. We don't see things like these every day. Then moving on, this is denial of service using cookie bomb. Now cookie bomb is really a good type of denial of service attack. What you need to do is, while observing headers homepage, it came to my mind, why not check hidden get parameters. So he used burp extension param miner to get the parameter extensions, and he saw that different cookies were being generated. So he used this cookie bomb attack, where you enter a string like these in the cookie and the website goes down, and it is a denial of service, but mostly it's out of scope for a lot of programs. Then bypassed password authentication before enabling otp verification. To produce this vulnerability, I created two accounts. For easy understand, let me give them name account 1, account 2. Then in account 1, click on enable two-step verification and enter password, and then choose msg message as otp delivery option. Fine. After that, request goes like this. When I send the sms, post admin users along with the user id, 2fa send sms this particular token along with the phone number. Now I want to bypass the password authentication in account 2. So I replace the cookies xsrf token host user id in the above request and keep authenticity token same. What it did, it replaced this user id, replaced the cookies, and just kept this authenticity token as same. When I submit this request, then OTP is successfully delivered to my phone. Now I have to enter and verify OTP. So I made following request and it goes successful. So on enabling 2FA, it was trying to bypass that particular authenticity token. But in this case, it says two CSRF protection mechanisms. As long as the one is valid, it can't work. So the person explained, he attached a proof of concept and it's triage, it's resolved, and he didn't got the bounty. Okay, he got the bounty. So yeah, you need to sometimes fight with the triager. Discovering a critical admin vulnerability, journey of accidental admin. So when he was trying to access this thing, I visited this example.com trying to sign in as a new user. Using my new credentials, I logged in Upon login, I encountered 403 error page indicating that I need to contact an admin to approve my account. My, he then opened the robots.txt file to see what admin accounts look like. It revealed some several URLs, and he tried testing that URLs. I could access administrator pages without approval. He can see this particular API, and he can access the admin panel straight away and approve or disapprove any user. And it was a critical bug, and I don't know what bounty he got, but it's like again kismat wali cheese. Tokenless GUI authentication. So how this thing is working: attempt to log in with a token, cut and paste the entire 401 from the back forwards, paste 401 error into token password, hit enter. I didn't got it how exactly it worked. I need not, I don't want to download this file. You can see this particular report number. I don't download files from external sources. I refrain. Then there is CSS injection. What happened over here is we got a parameter. We injected this particular CSS over here. Once we enter the CSS, you can see XSS is reflected on the home page. It could lead to deception of the website, and it's confirmed and fixed. It's marked as medium because it's XSS over here. User deletion is not handled properly everywhere. So I guess in this case, when we even try to delete the users, we can still access some functionalities. User A has an account on server, user B has an account. User A, user B do a lot of chatting via talk. At some point, user B leaves the server and their account is deleted. Now a new user comes along that gets assigned the ID of user B or registers it or whatever. If the new user B opens the chat to user A, they will see all the messages exchanged between user A and user B. That's bad. That's bad. Particularly. So you understood the scenario over here. Particularly, that's very bad. Then CSRF bypass combined with IDOT to complete account takeover. So it would be a one-click account takeover where we need to see the user ID parameter to update anything. Then by changing the request ID parameter polluting, they are trying adding special characters, but nothing worked. Then they tried for IDOR. Remove the CSRF token parameter entirely. Then set the parameter value to empty strings like CSRF 0. Change the content type header and a few things. So what they basically did is they got a user ID. After getting the user ID, they combined it with CSRF, and when they would send that particular request to someone, it would result in an account takeover. Like we can change the email to any email. So yeah. Then chain of rate limit and weak token expiry leads to account takeover. It's very easy. That the token expiry, token would they would try to brute force it. The code over here, they would try to brute force it to change the password. As I said, he tried to bypass the rate limits. Now over here it's using IP rotator to bypass this rate limit, and it worked. It's easy. I can tell from the bug name that what exactly happened. Over here it says special character bypass. Hmm. So admin here had the possibility to make restrictions and block for specific email domains, like blocking invites new users from Gmail. A normal user has an ability to invite new users. If the admin blocked Gmail, the normal user can still invite users with like this. He can still invite Gmail by using this new character of I, the new variant of I. But at the back end, it would treat it same. And he got a $500 for this. That's good. I like this bug. Even the domain is blocked by special characters, we can do that. Then there is URL link spoofing. Okay, so it's like a external authentication injection where we add a particular URL, add a particular phishing into a URL, and if we send that link to a particular users, he can fall for phishing. Generally, in Buckrout, they don't accept these things. XML RPC, everyone knows about this. Admin panel bypass by. Let's see this. Over here, he can see a admin panel and he can see that a particular CVs are over here. So let's go through the origin IP with port 80, and this is the admin panel of PHP MyAdmin. He tried brute forcing the username password but nothing worked. But if we use this endpoint setup index PHP, he got the admin panel access. That's bad. Forced browsing, it's like if we try to open a particular link which we don't have access to, like this admin dashboard, admin user backend. So if we try to do the forced browsing, sometimes we get access to that. You only need to the link of that particular thing, the API endpoint. You can get it from JS files particularly. Then there is wait time bypass. Sometimes when we try to log in with false credentials, it impacts the wait time. So if you see over here, it says the URL says first call password, and it has the email password parameter. Notice JavaScript page has several clickable links, including a send password reset link. It clicked on it without entering anything, and I was redirected to 404. I got to nowhere. So okay, so there was a limit of brute forcing things, and if you try to fill wrong passwords again and again, you get a ban of 20 minutes. But if you click on send password reset link, the ban is uplifted. So that means you can create a script that after getting banned, you should send a reset password link again and your ban goes off. Accessing deleted comments, it might be through the ID of that comment, if I'm not wrong. Exactly. If you delete the comment but you have the ID of that particular comment, like the comment ID, thread ID, you can see that particular comment because the comment is deleted from the front end, but it's not deleted from the back end. Why the impact was low? Because you can't know the comment ID and thread ID of every comment. So that's why it was described as a low. Then full email confirmation bypass leads to full privilege. Let's see. Oh, $16,000 bounty. My God. After signing up, starts a free trial. User can change their email address to a new email address before confirmation, the one they used to sign up. The bug is that Shopify email system mistakenly sends the confirmation link of the new email address to the one that is used to sign up. Okay. Okay, so if you, let's say you use a victim ID and you change the mail. So when you change the mail, the website is sending the request of this particular first account to the second account, so you can take over the account of first person. That's bad. That's really bad. Then there is RC through XXC. He's trying to fetch the HC password file using XXC. So we have already discovered it. Then authentication bypass with usage of pre-signed URL. So log into OwnCloud Infinite Scale. Example admin was the username. Create a new file. Plain text secret.txt file name was used. Add some content like secret file content, save the file. In addition, it is possible to check that the file is public or shared with anyone. Access the file without authentication with the following link, build it with known username and file name. So that means if you know the username and you know the file name, you can access any file. So in particular the following link was like this: secret.txt admin, again admin, and there was nothing else. So that means default settings for pre-signed URLs and therefore download files. It's like uh this is, you can read the documentation of this particular thing, how exactly this is working. But yeah, I somehow got the flow of this particular thing. Then broken link through user agent. We might be deleting the user agent, or we tried to switch the user agent, and the Google Play link was broken, and we can add any package name with that particular name, and it would be like it's like the broken link hijacking of Facebook, Instagram, and other stuff. And that was about the top interesting bugs. The next CVE which we are going to talk about is the CVE of 2024-1709, and this is a similar CVE, and it's the authentication bypass using an alternative path or channel vulnerability. Now this is the difference between previous authentication bypass and this authentication bypass. See, the rest flow remains same. You have a server, and in this particular case, what is the vulnerable version? Let me have a look. The vulnerable version is ConnectWise Screen Connect. ConnectWise Screen Connect. So authentication bypass using alternate path means this is a particular login page, but I used a other path which they describe as an alternate path to get the admin access. This not typically goes through the login page, but we get the admin access somehow. This is the main thing of this exploit, which is to be understood. If we look more at the details of this particular thing, so ConnectWise authentication bypass vulnerability, and I would get more information about this particular thing if I look at the exploit. So the best way of understanding an exploit is to go through the source code, how it exactly works. If we look at this, it's asking for HTTP, and there's a setup wizard.aspx directory. If we go through that, then it uses this particular directory to give a RCE, right? That's how it's working. For beginners, it's not really very easy to understand this particular thing, but I would get some other CVE if I can see, to make you things more clear. Now I have a knowledge, I have a decent experience. Tabhi I got the understanding of it on a very early stage, but for you guys, you need to be a little more technical about it. As I said, that by requesting to the setupwizard.aspx endpoint, we are trailing any path value jisse we get the RCE and we get the authentication bypass. By looking at that exploit, I clearly got that this is the root cause of this particular vulnerability. If I write over here ConnectWise, if we find anything, so these are the ConnectWise manage SMTP relays, and we are looking for the ConnectWise Screen Connect, which is the proper vulnerable version. Now you would say how I come to know that over here. ConnectWise Screen Connect. Now this is the particular company, this is the particular product. So in CVEs there are 2 points of consideration. What is the vulnerable service, or what is the vulnerable company, and what is the vulnerable product? If you get the hold of these two things, then secondly you need to look at what is the vulnerable version. So if you understand all these three things, every CVE of this level of a known exploit is mostly for the high level severity or critical level severity, right? So if we I look at this particular thing, it's saying login first, then I would show you something. So if I write ConnectWise, click on it, we'll wait for a few seconds, then screen connect. Arey, why it's giving an error? 1 second, guys. Let me first log in and directly enter it over here. If it gives an error, I would slap it on the face. Let me first sort this out. Alternatively, we can do that on Census too. You can use any server, guys. You can use a Google Doc too, it hardly matters. ConnectWise, if I enter it over here, and after I use ConnectWise, you can look for the software product over here, that which is the product control screen connect. Now this is not a user friendly interface. In your particular thing, Shodan would help you more, because it's not showing the exact thing we are looking for. So this is the particular query. Shodan, let me log in with a different account, because I use automation ना, my APIs get blocked. उसका भी गलती नहीं है. I test in some other ways. So if you clearly look at this, we have this particular screen connect functionality, and it's hosted in here. See, screen connect, ConnectWise screen connect. Now the critical point of analysis over here is what is the version of this particular thing. Now it is purely hit and trial thing. When I say hit and trial, because we know that this vulnerability is on the versions before this 23.9.7. So from looking at this particular thing, we can't basically know that what is the version number. You can inspect it if you get a lead on this, or else what you can do is, that's not a recommended way, but when you are lost in a way of no man's land, so that this could potentially help you. I repeat, it's not a intended way, because that tool would give a lot of faulty output, but this is the least we can do over here. You go to Vapalizer, it might not show technologies as I expected. It's detecting no technologies. So the only choice you have over here is to directly use this CVE. You guys want me to test this CVE, guys, right now? You want me to test this CVE? If we can exploit this, I don't know the version number clearly, that what's the version number, but let's try it. I am basically telling you the ways how you need to find the IPs which might be vulnerable to these. This is the strategy the top hunters look out for. What they do is, when a recent CV gets exploited, they always keep a track of it. Then they go to Shodan, and then they search for the IPs, and if that IP belongs to the company who has a bug bounty program on either HackerOne, Bugcrowd, or like companies like Google, Yahoo, so they exploit it and they get hefty bounties. They do that. So what we would do, we would first clone this particular directory. I would delete it anyhow. So we clone the particular directory. It's the CVE 2024. We enter it over here, ls, and we need to run python 3 and CVE. I need to see how we need to run that. Is either what you can do is, you can look at the documentation on how to use it, that how it's intended to work. It's asking for a http path, simple, straight away give that. Let me try, because it they haven't given us a way to use it, so we need to find how we should use it. No such file or directory host.txt, so I don't know exactly how it's working, so I might require to search for another exploit for it, because they haven't given any documentation. Create a host.txt file within the script directory, include hosts you intend to scan in the file. Okay, so I guess jitna I got the hold, they are trying to say we should create a file, name host.txt, so I would write touch hosts.txt, and I should enter this particular URL over there. I don't know if I'm doing right or not. So it's not a good practice. They should include the documentation. Host.txt, and if I run this, status code 302 unsuccessful. So it's giving a status code of 302, means it's not redirecting to the particular directory, which was this setup wizard, because it says, see, if the final response is 302, then try this. If this is not, else show that like it's a basic Python code. If you understand coding a bit, you would get to know. So see, if we look at this, we are not redirected to this setup wizard.aspx, rather we are getting redirected to the login page. That's why this particular exploit is not supported. Got getting the flow na, guys? It's a basic command, it's nothing very techy about it, basic hai. Then if this particular thing is not working, because as I said, it might not be the vulnerable version. I already said that it's not necessary that it's the particular version which we are looking for. We tried this, we can give a try to this as well, but this is the ideal way how you should be looking at these things. It's of Pepsi, so I would write echo host.txt. See, it gives a 302 also, because it's also not redirecting to this setup wizard.aspx, means these are the latest versions. See, we can manually check that too. So this is the best way how you can do things, and this was all about this particular CVE. Thank you. Now, the other CV which we are going to talk about is the most famous CV, one of the most famous CVs of this year, and the affected softwares and the vendors are Palo or Alto Networks, and it's a PAN-OS vulnerability, means the entire operating system would be affected. And what we can do is it allows an unauthenticated attacker. Unauthenticated means for which we don't have a ID password, we are not logged in yet. It allows an unauthenticated attacker to execute arbitrary code. See, wherever arbitrary code is being involved and we have the root privileges, the CVSS would always be on the higher side. Always remember, right? And there's a public exploit available for it as well. Let's see how's the exploit working. In the same manner, there's a Metasploit module for it, and it's very recent CV. It's for the 12th of April. It's the latest CV. My MSF is getting updated. By the time it's getting updated, we can see probability of exploitation activity in 30 days. The EPSS scores and the exploitation activity score is really high, because most of the hackers on HackerOne tend to exploit these kinds of vulnerabilities on a very easy note, because they stay in touch with the CVEs, and once they find a target with the similar version, they jump on it, right? And if we write over here the exploit and see, the exploit are available. If this particular website CVE details say there's a public exploit available, it would be there. And how it's working, we can simply clone the directory. We can go to that directory using the change directory command. We install the requirements, we run the exploit.py. Then what are the payloads we can execute? We can search the directory contents, we can see the etc password file, we can see who is the current logged in user, and then we can uh like we can use a widget command to upload and then use a malicious script. We can gain the reverse shells, we can remove the files, and that's how it goes. It's very easy, and it's for the PAN-OS firewalls. If we see it in Shodan, PAN-OS firewalls, let's see the vendors. The vendors might be Palo Alto Networks, and that because that's a particular version inside of that, right? So we need to bifurcate it onto that perspective, that the vendor is Palo Alto, then there is PAN-OS. It's a distribution under it. So we need to basically bifurcate these things to get accurate results. Over here we don't have something like that. We can see if we can denote it as a vendor. mm, Product Palo Alto. So whenever you come across a similar scenario, see, like here is the Palo Alto firewalls, where you would see this particular version of PAN-OS, then you should see that if it's a PAN-OS, if I write over here PAN, I might not get results. But if it's a PAN-OS firewall, you should jump on it, and it would be exploitable if it's under that particular version, right? It's that easy. The first thing you should know is that what's the product, who's the vendor, and how we can exploit that. You can see a lot of YouTube videos onto the same topic, that how they exploit. The steps are simple. If you have a public exploit, you just need the IP, you just need to confirm that that particular version is running over there, and you're good to go. Okay guys, hope it's nice and clear to you. Thank you. So next up is a very interesting CVE, which is CVE 2024-4040. And how we exploit this particular CVE is, there is a server-side template injection, aka known as SSTI, where we execute a command like this, and it gets executed like this, and we can escalate it to getting RCE, and that's all about it. That's the backstory of this whole particular thing. And this CV was discovered on the product known as Crush FTP, and the best part about it is that there is a public exploit available for it, and the versions before 10.7.1 till 11.1.0 on all platforms allows unauthenticated remote attackers to read file systems from the VFS sandbox, bypass authentication to gain administrative access, and perform remote code execution on the server. And the CVSS is critical. It's on to the max scale, that is 10.0, and you would get the highest bounty for it. If we look more at this particular thing, as I explained, the vulnerability name and the product affected is Crush FTP VFS that allows a remote attacker to escape the system. If we look at this particular thing, there's a Metasploit module available for it as well. And to show you more further, let me boot up my virtual box, that how you can get that particular exploit on the system. And if I might get a lead on the same version on Shodan, it would be really great. Crush FTP, and if I go to Shodan, I say over here Crush FTP. 1 second. Hmm. Crush FTP. There would be companies using this particular technology, and the only thing we are concerned with is what's the version number over here. Uh, Moving back, firstly, I would like to show you this particular exploit available on MSF console. How, if you find a particular company using this particular version, then how you can we can bifurcate it by choosing the top products over here. And see, there is no particular state to determine what's the version number being used. You do need to do it manually. There is no shortcuts to that. So let's say if we take this particular case, and if we are opening it over here, so we have no particular knowledge that it's whether it's the affected version or not. But if we write over here, search Crush FTP, search Crush, 1 second, search exploit Crush, it's showing some sort of error. 1 second, search exploit, and we write over here Crush. See guys, over here it's not showing the particular exploit we want. But it's if it's saying that there is a public exploit available for it. See, Metasploit modules of the arbitrary file read, we would find for it. So this is the best way of finding an exploit for this particular thing. See, use auxiliary, this particular thing, and for that we need to launch our MSF console. Some people know that this particular version is affected, but they don't know the best way of finding an exploit to it. So I'm telling you what's the best way of doing those things. So if we write over here, it says fail to load module. This might be because our MSF console would be outdated, so we should search for the command to update MSF console, because updating the Metasploit would solve this issue in because these CVs are very latest, guys. These are very latest. So okay, it's asking for the root permissions, and it would ask for a password in a while. So when the CVs are latest now, we face a variety of issues by not finding those CVs. By the time it does it work over here, I would tell you another way of finding these things. That if you know the CV number, let's say this is the CV number, and you go over here, you write over here exploit. Simple. You would get the GitHub repositories of the same trying to exploit those particular things. See, you just need to download this particular Python file, download the requirements, and this is the syntax of the IP, and it's the we are including SSH host RSA key. It's not basically, we are not including, it's a way of exploiting. And exploit a list of targets, we can exploit a list of targets in that way. And if you look at other exploits, the way of exploiting might differ, but ultimately it's one and the same thing. And yeah, that's how it works. It's getting updated, but once it's updated, for sure it would show the version we wanted to use. And in the same way, by using this version, by filling the IP address in the R host L host, you are good to go, and you can exploit this particular CV in this way, and the CVSS score is on the critical side. Thank you. Next CVE which we are going to do is the CVE 20245274, and it's in the Google Chrome. And the version number here is mentioned out very clear, that before this Google Chrome version, that is 125.0.64 to 2.112, allowed a remote attacker to execute arbitrary code. Arbitrary code means we can execute system level codes via inside a sandbox. Sandbox environment is a restricted environment, and via a crafted HTML page. And the severity is 8.8, higher than the previous CV which we discussed. And you can see the impact score, the exploitability score. That exploitability score shows us that what is the likeliness of that to happen. If we look at the description, Google Chromium V8 contains a type confusion vulnerability where we create a confusion that allows a remote attacker to execute, means we can run code via crafted HTML page. This vulnerability could affect multiple web browsers that utilize Chromium, including but not limited to Google Chrome. Means ये तो है ही है, these are there, but it's not limited to these only. And I guess there is not a public exploit available for it. And the Microsoft has launched uh, like a update for it, and it's a 0-day bug. And they have particular blog on this, that how to remediate this particular thing. There are updates available for it. And it says आप कैसे check करेंगे, how would you check that this particular version is affecting your particular Chrome? You can see your Chrome version. If it's same, you are at risk. Operating systems, that what operating system you are using, and what's the browser usage. If it's being exploited, your browser usage might be very high. And how to fix this thing, you can see the steps over here. You need to open your Google Chrome, and there's not a public exploit available for this particular thing. So there are two types of companies, type A and type B. Some companies pay you bounty for even telling that yeah, this is the exploitable version you are using. You get the money. Some says exploit it for us, then only we would pay. But in this case, it's Microsoft. And some hacker might have reported it to MSRC, the vulnerability program of Microsoft. But the bad point is that a public exploit is not available, so we can't say that what's the exploitability score, as the index also suggests that the exploitability score is very less. Though the severity is high, but the likelihood of it being happening is very less. So that's how you might to differ from CVs which we use in bug bounties, and which we don't come across in general scenarios, right guys? So our another exploit is coming from the Windows kernel elevation of privilege vulnerability. So before doing that, we should understand two aspects of privilege escalation. My writing is bad, guys, so just bear it. And it's of two types: horizontal and a vertical. So if you say be at some sort of same privileges but of different user, so it's horizontal privilege escalation, which is known as lateral movement 2. Lateral movement and vertical privilege escalation is like either moving to higher privileges, right? So that's the meaning of privilege escalation. And the vulnerability which we are talking about is the Windows kernel elevation of privilege vulnerability, where there is a exposed kernel of IOCTL with insufficient access control. Insufficient access control means where there is some lack of security on the access protocols, and this results in a higher privileges to be attained. Now there is a public exploit available for it too. To search for it, I would write exploit and see how this thing works. Okay, it's on Windows 11 too. So how this thing is working: use Microsoft Studio with C++ package to successfully compile the POC of both release and debug modules, and this local privileges escalation from admin to kernel vulnerability. Okay, so we can even escalate the privileges from admin to kernel, and this is the particular exploits over here. Let me see a pre-compiled exploit if I can see one. I can least expect that for that to exist. Let's see, because these are not really common exploits. If I can find something, I will try to show you over here. See, if we get a shell of this particular computer, then this is the particular CVE that we can exploit. See, kernel privilege escalation. That's how it works. So let me see what it's doing. It's easy to make you guys understand. I would draw a diagram. I got the whole that how exactly it's working. You have a admin privileges, and there's a technology of IOCTL. I don't remember the name. Let's say there is a admin like access control problem over here. So because of this access control problem, we got a kernel shell which is of higher privileges because they have the debug permissions. And why this is of use to the hackers? Because this is not of much use to penetration testers, but it's much used of hackers. Because let's say they got a local shell, means a shell from a normal user on the Windows PC. They would escalate their privileges to admin using this particular privesc vector, and they can run the ransomware on that particular PC, and even could do worse if it's connected to a network. So that's the whole scenario behind this CV. It might be patched and the latest version. How we can get information of that is, you can see over here, as Windows is owned by Microsoft, so Microsoft might have released the update over here, as I told you. And this shows what is the attack vector, what is attack complexity, kitna mushkil hai, what is the exploitability rate, and that's how it goes around. And this might be in the latest update of Microsoft. So that's why we always say you should keep updating your systems on a regular basis to safeguard yourselves from these kinds of exploits, right? So the exploit now on board is one of the most famous exploits of 2024, and numerous people earned lakhs of rupees exploiting this particular bug, the Ivanti SSRF bug. And you might not believe that it's a critical bug, and it like leads to an authenticated RC using SSRF. And it was disclosed by HackerOne, means a hacker reported this particular bug to a program, and from HackerOne this particular CVE was known to the other whole world. How this thing works is, firstly let me explain you how SSRF works is, we get the IP from like we got a ping back from the victim server, and that's how we use SSRF to escalate the privileges to RCE. To make it more clear, firstly you need to understand what is the like the vulnerable service. So the vulnerable service was Ivanti Connect Secure, formerly known as Pulse Connect Secure, contains a SSRF that allows an attacker to access certain restricted resources without authentication. Right. So if you look at this, you write Ivanti over here. It's patched, guys. It's patched. I know it's patched on most of the targets, but I'm just telling there are numerous HackerOne uh, hunters who exploited this particular vulnerability when it was disclosed. Really, trust me. If we write Ivanti over here and we go to more, we are finding this particular product, which is Connect Secure. See, Pulse Secure. If you can see, it was formerly known as Pulse Connect Secure. So this is over here. So you getting my point? Why understanding the CV is very important. We write over there it was Pulse Secure, but even if you see over here, the name is Connect Secure. So everything connects now, guys. Yes or no? Everything got interconnected. How our research is paying off. I might not say that this is a vulnerable version, but that's the best way of finding things, right? It works on a certain version. So if we go on this, and if I look for the exploit of this particular thing, it might not run because it's mostly passed on most of the organizations, and this IP might not work. See if we can see it's not working. And this is the particular exploit for it. I would explain you how it works. All you have to do is you need to exploit use this particular syntax, where you need to use Python, then the cve.python file. The target.com means, like, if this is the target.com, you need to enter your IP over here, and then you need to enter the burp collaborator link. Simple. When you get enter the burp collaborator link over there, you would get a ping back from the IP. Once you get ping back from the IP, you just need to use this particular command in your what we say burp suite to get the RC. I would explain this how this is working. This is the directory we are targeting. You need to enter the target name over here, and then this is a kind of XXE attack. And what it's exactly doing, it's getting the retrieval URI from, we are basically fetching the HC password file, which is a correct file, and getting the ping back to the burp collaborator. I know everything would go up your head, but I would explain you how this thing works. Firstly, you need to run this command Python CVE target. You write need to target IP, then you need to give here the burp collaborator link. So what it would do is, if that would be a vulnerable version, you would get the ping back of IP on your burp. So you need to enter that IP in the POC, and you would fetch the HC password file in a response as SSRF back to your burp suite, making it a highly critical issue, because you can fetch any file from that system being unauthenticated. And this CVEI, let me show you what I'm trying to say, why this CV was so famous on HackerOne. Let me see Ivanti wants over new actively exploited 0-day exploit, and you can see HackerOne awarded nearly $300 million to bug hunters for this CV, because this was on a critical level. If a hacker exploits this on any website, any website, they would get the highest bounty tier. So the like the key to success is keeping in touch with CVs on daily basis. You should maintain a habit how you need to get the latest CVs. Just use this website, which is cvedetails.com. And if a CV is like it's discovered today, you should start hunting the same day. 80% there are chances that you would find a HackerOne program, Bugcrowd program, private bug bounty program, which would have this particular vulnerable version, and you can make big money, right? So, hello everyone. The first CVE we are going to discuss is CVE of 2024, and the number is 24919. And how we gonna learn these CVs is we would be starting from that. What is the particular CV about, and how does it affect that particular system, and are there any public exploits available for that CV or not? So this particular CV, what does it does is that it enables attackers to read certain information on checkpoint security gateways once connected to the internet and enabled with remote access VPN. So the products of checkpoint. So the most common problem which you guys face is to analyze what is the particular affected product. So here the affected product is checkpoint security gateway. And what does this particular CV does is the attacker can read some sort of sensitive information, and as you can see, the CVS is pretty high, and it's 8.6 categorized under the category of high. And if you expose it onto a system, it would be categorized as a P1 bug. And you can see a particular tag of public exploit available for this thing. The best way of finding a public exploit is to copy the number of the CVE. You can just copy the number of the CVE and write your exploit, and it would pop up right on the top that what is this particular exploit about. And here's the nuclei template to verify, and this is the Google dork to find what are the affected mm, basically what are the affected programs of this particular thing. And this is the doc, and you can use this doc on search engines as well. But to use docs on Shodan, you need to log in first, and then only you can use these particular docs. The point of knowing the CVs is very important, because if while hunting, while doing pen testing, you come across these scenarios, you might know that what your target should be. And if I write over here checkpoint, it might yield a lot of results. The only point of consideration we should have on to our mind is, see over here we can see the top products, and while going to these top products, you can see what is the version number which is matching with this, because every exploit works with a specific version number. And here's the nuclei template, and see it's the FOFA doc as well. You have the FOFA doc, and it shows the information about that particular thing. There are various YouTube videos, and it's categorized as high. And while you use a nuclei template, it might get you a lot of information. And if you particularly look at the code, how it's being found, it's looking for the HC shadow file. HC shadow file is onto the Linux folder, and the payload it's using is this particular thing. And this CB was very famous. Most of the reports are getting trashed due to this. If you see at this LinkedIn post, you can easily see what are the docs we use for this to find this particular product, and how the people are generating the exploits out of it. You just need to open burp suit and AC shell, and you get the HC shadow file. And that's how easy it is. The main problem you guys face is to determine what's the product, what's the severity of this thing, and what we would get by using this particular CVE. This was all for the first CV, and thank you. So, the CV we were doing was is the CV that is 2024, that denotes the year, and the CVE number is 27198. The CV is located in the JetBrains Team City before authentication bypass, allowing to perform admin functions that was possible. Now if we look more at this JetBrains TeamCity authentication vulnerability, and the bug that was over here was the authentication bypass vulnerability. Now those who don't know about the authentication bypass means, let's say this is a particular server, it's using this particular service of JetBrains, and on this particular service they have a login mechanism, and this login mechanism has admin users, and if we can somehow get the admin access without giving the right ID and password, that is known as a auth bypass, or known as authentication bypass. Now this is the whole process. Guess it's clear to you. Now to make it more clear that how exactly this was done, we would write exploit. So there is a public exploit available for this particular thing, so it's explaining how it's working. So there is a Python file over here, Python exploit over here. How it works is, you need to enter a particular information. See, you need to just do Python exploit and the vulnerable IP address and the port server. What it would do, it would automatically run the exploit with this username, with this password and user ID 98, and you would get the RCE to the particular server. How this thing is working, it got the authentication bypass, then it use a particular web shell vulnerability, it uploads something. मेरे को कैसे पता लगा, how I got to know that is, you can only upload a malicious plugin to upload web shell. Means we uploaded a malicious plugin to get the RCE, and this is how the admin panel looks of TeamCity. Means it asks for a username, it asks for a password, and that's how you can create an account, and you can do the same thing manually as well, but there's a public exploit for it. This was all for the CVE of TeamCity. For CVEs to understand, you should know that what is a vulnerable service. Secondly, what is the vulnerable version. For example, in this particular thing, if I write JetBrains, and if I write over here JetBrains, so it is a vulnerable service, right? If it's a vulnerable service, you can see over here, we can see what's using JetBrains server, JetBrains hub. See, so that's how in the case of your target you can see which things are using the JetBrains server. Like in this case, it's using a JetBrains server, and let me verify this. I'm not sure if it's using a JetBrain or not. If I click on login, it's not fully using a JetBrain server because it's not really. So this is a kind of false positives. So let me see if I can find a real JetBrains server. See, JetBrains activation address, it's on the local host. This is using the JetBrains license servers. So if you got a target and you ever come across JetBrains, so this CV should get stuck on your mind that I need to look at for this particular CV. Got it, guys?